Hello and welcome to episode 349 of the Destiny
DCP
Community
Podcast.
That concludes my portion of speaking for this podcast. I'll turn it over to Joker themed Watts.
No, because less my hair. That's my hair.
Looking very Jokerish tonight.
Which version of the Joker would she be?
The one that eats people?
Oh, is there a needed paper one? Nice. Now I'm on the side. Now I get it.
Mila, Jay, how you guys doing tonight?
Good, tired.
Well, yeah, you just got back from GCX.
I did, and almost a week of Disney on top of that with a family of 4 and 2 young children. So yes,
that's a lot. That's a lot of Disney.
Yeah.
That is.
I didn't properly plan out the schedule, and I did 5 days in a row. It was like Disney, GCX, Disney, home. Day. And the last day at Disney, our 3-year-old had to go to the ER.
It was like Disney overload. I understand. It happens to the best of us. Just too much fucking Mickey. Get him out of my face.
Oh, hello there.
I
quickly
goofy
realized
pimp
slapper.
that.
I've heard he does that. He's likely to just often like slap a kid. Sometimes
Unstable.
It's a little upset, you know.
I'm gonna slap a bitch.
Yeah, that's how it sounds. You gotta put on that voice thing that you had on for the charity stream and say that.
I ain't got that no more. I can set it up to have it. I got the new mixer and I was like, I'm not.
Goofy's gotta slap a bitch.
Where's my money?
Never mess with the mouse. Don't mess with the mouse.
Don't mess with the mouse. Florida tried.
You know, speaking of weird animation stuff, I have been like full on into Mortal Kombat. I got into this like weird. I got a new Xbox arcade stick. Speaking of Joker theme, look at that, purple and green.
Yeah.
And so I went and got a bunch of Xbox 360 games to play with an Xbox arcade stick, and one of them was Mortal Kombat 9. And then I was like, well, I'm just gonna play through this because it's kind of fun. And then I played Mortal Kombat 10, and then I played Mortal Kombat 11 again, and then I played Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath, which is the DLC. And then I watched the old 1995 Mortal Kombat movie, and then I watched the new 2022 Mortal Kombat movie. And then I'm like, oh, look, there's these new animated movies that they started making also in 2020. So I watched 2 of those. There's still a third one, and they're gonna make it a 4th one that I'll watch probably.
So you'll be caught up?
But the funny part, the point of this story is these animated Mortal Kombat movies, which are made by Warner Brothers, which I think is the same animation studio who's been making like all those Batman movies, the DC universe movies that they've been like. It seems like there's like a new one every day. They're unbelievably good and unbelievably gory. Like, and it's kind of surprising to see because most of the cartoon, and I say cartoon not because I'm joking around and calling an anime a cartoon. These are like, WB cartoons, but they're like feature length, and they seem like a Saturday morning cartoon until somebody rips somebody else's arms off. It's bizarre to watch, and it's very entertaining.
You're selling it to me.
It's good. It's fun. The first one is, I think it's like Scorpion's Revenge or something like that. They're all called like Mortal Kombat Legends. So they're like retell.
I thought you were gonna say it's like Scorpion's Revenge. It's this someone else's revenge.
Yeah.
My brain died.
They kind of like focus on characters, but also like kind of retell the origins of the Mortal Kombat. Not the origins of the Mortal Kombat, but like Mortal Kombat 1, 2, 3, like that kind of era of like what happened. It's fun.
How many times have I like retold Mortal Kombat lore?
It's so fun though. It's like you can retell it. It's a tournament. It's a fighting game tournament with a bunch of goofy ass characters. And frankly, if you put Johnny Cage on a screen, I'm gonna watch it.
I haven't seen the new one, but all I heard was the Aussie Kano or whatever. It was the only redeeming factor of it.
He was like good. That. Yeah,
everyone was like,
I enjoyed the new one.
Yeah, it was okay. It was fun.
I haven't seen it.
It was
fine.
Yeah, it was all right.
But if it's gotten, does he say we're not here to fuck spiders? Because if he doesn't say that, I'm out.
Something I don't know. He says a lot of funny stuff. Yeah,
that should be how every Aussie walks into a room from now on.
Well, not here to fuck spiders. Oh, that was bad.
I
No more.
tried doing a South African accent because I think in Atlas Fallen they've got a little bit of South African, and I was like, wow, that's an accent I cannot do.
What is Atlas Fallen?
That's a game that came out recently that me and Mylan played.
Yeah?
First, we had a sponsored streams.
Oh, okay. What kind of game is it?
So it's made by the Surge devs.
Oh, okay. You told me about this.
Yeah,
It's like if
and
Monster Hunter had a baby with a Devil May Cry.
yeah, so the Fighting Cowboy,
Hey,
when
to
I
watch
watched his
that.
review, it's like if you had God of War and Monster Hunter and like a little
Yeah,
bit of
pretty
the
much.
Souls influence in there because that's what they're used to making. But yeah, it's an open world game where you can like ride on sand and the exploration's super smooth and they don't restrict you really at all in your exploration, and the combat actually seems pretty deep. It's definitely very fun.
Yeah?
I'm
yeah, this
gonna
looks
play more.
cool.
I'm gonna play more tomorrow.
It's like
I
Dark
look-
Souls,
enjoyed
but
it.
in a bright place.
Bright Souls.
Bright Souls.
I think like my overall impressions of it is its release timing is just pretty rough on the back of Remnant 2 because it's like
Right.
if I had to choose between what game I'd buy this month, I would probably recommend people to buy Remnant 2. It's
Right.
not that Atlas Fallen is a bad game, but Remnant 2 just kind of
Is
blew it out of the water kind of deal
Yeah.
with its exploration and boss battles and its co-op and its hop in, hop out and crafting. But this is not guns, right? So it is slightly different in the fact that it's more of a beat 'em up Monster Hunter open world than what Remnant is. But yeah, it's still been an enjoyable time.
Yeah,
But,
I've been
yeah.
enjoying it so far.
That's
Mhm.
neat.
Sweet.
It's gotten very mixed reviews. But I think a lot of Deck 13's
So it's
games.
perfect for Destiny fans.
A lot of Deck 13's games are always like real close to having something really special.
Yeah.
And then I think with the Surge 2, they kind of got there. And I think what a lot of people have said is I'm excited for Atlas Fallen 2 to see what they do with like their second version of the game. Because it's their first time doing this kind of game.
Okay.
But I think it's all about how much you enjoy the combat in it. If you really like the combat, I think you'll really like the game. Or if you really like the exploration,
Yeah.
I had a
I'm
lot
waiting
of
to
fun
see
so
how
far.
many monsters there are. I think that's gonna like solidify for me
Yeah.
because I'm not super into the story, or I don't think there's
Yeah, the story.
a lot of aspects that do anything different. Like you've seen this UI before, you've seen a lot of the aspects before. Like it's gonna feel very familiar. But I do like beating the monsters up, and I think there is a little bit of build crafting in there. There's like 100
Definitely.
what they call essence, which are like mods to your gear essentially that you can change up your fighting style with. And if there's enough variety in enemies, like that would probably keep me going on it for sure.
Definitely.
Any update on Monster Hunter World 2, Watts?
Nope, we're
No,
waiting
not yet.
for
Still waiting.
Tokyo Game Show.
Tokyo
That will
Game
be
Show?
when we hear something.
All right.
If we hear
that's gotta
anything,
be
it'll be them.
September, right? Usually, or
Yep.
end of August or September? Is it September?
We're
Okay.
close. Let's see what it is this year. But yeah, that's kind of when we will hear something. People are suspecting that it's going to happen because they were talking about having a multi-million-dollar game coming out before March. So
Oh, that's pretty soon.
September 1st.
What else could it be?
I
From
think.
Capcom, right? It's got to be
Is it?
Monster
So it's the
Hunter.
Oh,
Same
September
weekend as
21st. Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna
September
say, I was like,
21st. Yeah.
It'd be wild to be the
The
same
initial
weekend.
Google search sucks.
Speaking of September 1st,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
isn't that also the second is when the raid is, isn't it? Or is it the first?
I think it's the first.
Friday
Is it a
or
Friday?
Saturday?
It's a Friday.
That's the first. Yeah, I'll be in
Also,
Seattle for PAX.
Starfield early access on the
Yeah.
1st.
Oh,
Oh, really?
It's gonna be an interesting weekend for a lot of people.
Yep.
Wait, this is what?
This is why I was
this-
like, I'm gonna ask TV to join the raid, and then I was like, never mind.
I'm gonna be
Wait,
in
this
Seattle.
is-
Yeah.
This is not a new raid though. This is a reprise.
Yeah,
raid,
this is a
isn't it?
reprise raid.
Correct.
I think some people might be jumping into Starfield.
You think?
We actually heard from
Like,
the
guys,
Thalian.
I wasn't here last week. What happened? Anything important?
The Thalian said that he's because it's Starfield. This is the first raid day one he's gonna miss out on because it's a reprised raid, so more people are like less inclined to take time off work or skip out on stuff because it's not a brand new raid.
Shit. Have I committed to the raid team yet? What's because I'm thinking of jumping out.
No, we don't have one. We have nothing. It's probably just me and you.
It sounds like it's just
Oh,
you.
do you want to go in?
So here's the
Do you
deal
want
with
to go
the
in and look at the starting area? Then
I don't think I want to do as a person who does raids like nonstop.
Yeah, you're the
I
raid
think
guy.
that I don't want to do reprise raids anymore unless they change the formula where you have to do the
Mhm.
regular raid and the challenge raid to get the day. It's just, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
like I think most people would agree with me that regardless of your experience and your you know skill level, it's just not a fun experience for us. We were just a normal team, a slightly above average team, but it took us 16 and a half hours to get through King's Fall contest. We beat it, and then it was like there was no satisfaction because it's like we got to do it all over again, and we were all tired, and it was just like, nope, it's not going to happen.
Right.
So
Yeah. It's
it's the same amount of time that it took for us to do DSC day one, and you got the medal. That it's like it doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know. It's weird.
I've heard that sentiment on Twitter as well, where
can
people are
you
like, I don't like the formula. Yeah.
summarize what the formula is? Because I can't quite remember. So what do you have
Jay,
to
do
do?
you
You
want to
have to
do
do
it?
it.
Because I haven't done all the.
Yeah.
We just did
So-
the first clear of the raid, and we're like, bye.
Yeah, you do the first clear of the raid in contest mode. So
Yeah.
it's a reprise raid, so it's like 70% the same, 60% the same. But there's
Right.
still some
So there
stuff.
could be some different because I only
Yeah.
think I did Vogue. I remember doing Vogue, and I can't remember exactly what changed and what was the same. But yeah, because you do it in contest mode first,
Right. And then you
and
have to redo it again in contest
with all the challenges,
with
right?
all the challenges.
Right.
And you have to do that within whatever it was, 40. I think it was 48 hours. Was it 48 hours for King's Fall or was it 24?
I think it was
48.
24 for.
Either way, it
Oh.
was like,
Oh,
no, we were
oh,
done
no.
and we didn't even jump back in. We were like, no, it's time to go to bed. Like it was not gonna happen. And there was like even like Leopard's team, I think they were like stuck for a good while on challenge for War Priest. So
Yeah.
and he's
I mean,
no
I'm pretty
slouch, man.
sure I'd spent like 19 hours in Vogue.
Yeah.
I think.
It's just
Dude, the reprise raids have been
Hmm.
like not super easy on contest
No.
either.
because you have to really fine tune damage and stuff. That was the biggest issue with King's Fall was
Yes.
pumping out enough damage.
Still a
Sure.
big damage check, just like
Yeah.
D1. Freaking War Priest.
So yeah.
Yeah. See, like part of me likes. I think we like don't have enough content that's like that. I think that's part of the issue. It's like hard to get ready for that kind of activity when it's only here like one day.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
like-
Yeah.
It's like people aren't really. You haven't min-maxed everything, and I kind of like that there should be a pinnacle activity that makes you min-max, but it'd also be kind of nice to be able to practice it without
Sure.
one phasing everything. And then be like, okay, I actually really need a rocket launcher here, or I really need to go get this roll. Otherwise, we are going to spend 19 hours. And reprise raids, I think. They're definitely good, but I mean, I think if there's something like Starfield out the same day, we might see a bit of a dip in
Yeah.
play base for sure.
Be an interesting conversation with like the top tier teams if they enjoy the doing 2 raids, you know what I mean? Because they're
Yeah.
going to get through it pretty quickly, but anybody who's not figured out all the top DPS strats at the beginning of the season already is going to be hurting.
Do you guys think it's gonna be Crota, or do you think it's gonna be Wrath?
If it's Crota, me and Mylan, we could just walk in there as a 2-man to see if we could
Bang this
2-man
one
it.
out.
I feel like it'd be weird if they made it Crota though, because they
It would
said
be weird.
specifically like a year ago that it would be not a smaller raid.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it would be weird if they made it Crota, at least the way it is.
I would
Crota's a
assume it's
fun
Wrath.
raid, and when they remade it, it made it more difficult, like the Age of Triumph
Yeah.
raid
Yeah.
version of it and stuff. When they fixed the cheesing of it and stuff like that, and they put the slams all on the opposite side of the bridge and things like that. It was fun, but it's not Wrath.
Man,
Yeah.
everyone shits on Crota. I actually like Crota.
I like
actually
it too.
I
a lot
enjoyed it.
I like it
of
too.
the aesthetics and the mechanics. It was just a lot of it was cheesable.
I definitely
Yeah.
think they improved it though the second time around.
People forget.
Like it was way more fun with like the sword mechanic. Everybody smashing the knights. Like that was. Everybody was giggling like for 10 minutes straight, just like smashing those knights with all those swords. It was a ton of fun.
I have a challenge for anybody right now who's thinking, man, Crota's a dungeon. Da 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 da. Go back right now with your fire team and play the 400 light version, and come back and tell me you got it done in like a half an hour without
Destiny
playing
1.
it for like a year or more. We've
Mhm.
gone back and done it with like our OG rate. Like it's not an easy peas cheese fest anymore. Like not the 400 Age of Triumph version.
I used to you know those totems where the bridge section is, like you gotta
Yeah.
build the bridge, and they like they close up, and they used to like glitch and shoot you into the air. You used to sit in the top of them, and it just like bottle rocket you in the air, and then you like and then, like sword dash over the bridge. It was so funny.
So that's it though, right? That's the two raids that are kind of left,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
Crota and Wrath of the Machine is what it's called, right?
Correct.
Yep.
So let's assume that we get one this year, we get the other one next year. Do you think that's the end of reprise raids, or do you think they start going back to the
Leviathans,
Destiny 2 well?
Oh, 100%.
I think they will. Yeah.
Ugh,
I
yuck.
think so.
Just
Eater of Worlds was fun. Spire of Stars was fun.
I agree.
I loved Fire.
I don't-
I loved Crown of Sorrows. That's my favorite raid.
Yeah,
Crown of
those are
Sorrows was my
fun.
favorite. I love it.
It is
I
tough to
agree.
have, like,
I
15
don't like
raids
when
to
they take stuff out and then like put it back in and like kind of
yeah.
put a gloss
Yeah.
of paint over it like it's new content.
They should have never taken them
Well,
out in the first place, to be
I
honest.
agree.
Yeah. Well, I think they're going.
At least
I think if
that's
they're going down this path from from last week with the state of the game, like this is where their content is really. If you look at PVE, it's dungeons and it's raids and it's GM, so it makes sense to build that bank back up. So when they get new players, there's 10, 20 raids, whatever it is to be able to jump in to do it, and all the dungeon content, and to stop vaulting stuff and put their time there.
It makes me wonder if we will get a new exotic when they bring them back, the D2 ones, because they said, if the exotic is already here or it doesn't have an exotic, we'll add one to it. So, and Acrius was like, yes, it is an exotic, like a raid exotic, but it's not the same as like hitting the chest and getting the drop. It was a different kind of exotic experience. So I'm wondering, I'd be down to get new exotics from raids being brought back.
I wonder if have they talked about contest mode and keeping it up for longer or anything like that?
Don't think
Because
That's what I've read. No.
They haven't talked about like game size or anything either recently.
no.
Because I would love to skip day one on a reprise raid, but be able to go back and participate with a contest mode active.
Yeah, they haven't said anything
I
about
would
the
love
contest sticking
to.
around. That's something
Yeah.
that the community has really been pushing for, but they haven't said anything about it.
Yeah.
Contest mode was a huge hit right from the get go, but everybody always just said, "Okay, now just add it so we can do it anytime we want."
Yeah.
Nope.
With like relevant rewards.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
give an ornament or give something that's not day one, but something that's worth you.
Yeah,
Trying
which you
it
see, you'd
after
think would
day
be a
one.
no brainer because it's already made content, so you're just like making it available.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, not the reward, but
Yeah.
Anywho, Destiny 2. Last week was a bit of a bummer.
Destiny 2.
Yeah, I missed out on all the
rage.
bumming.
It was
Bit of a bummer.
it was a hard podcast. I'm not gonna lie. It was not one of my favorite podcasts that we've ever done.
I
It
was listening.
I was in-
listening.
I was in Florida and I was like looking at Twitter in the morning and I'm like, oh no, because it was like immediate,
Yeah, it was
And-
immediate.
I was hanging out with people that night and they're like, Jay, did you look at the state of the? I was like, nope. And I'm not gonna, not this trip because, I was like, I don't want to bum myself out on this trip. I'm trying to have a good time.
Mm.
So, guys, you want to give your quick TLDR thoughts, seeing as you guys weren't here last week for the state of the game?
Yeah, I would
You can
love
check
to,
out
but
Mylan's video.
I would love to give this my too long didn't read or watch, but I don't want to bring it all up again because I know people just kind of move
Well,
forward.
you
as
know
well.
what? Breyer gave people quite a bit of hope with what he said about it. He's like, what if they're getting all of the bad news out of the way so that they can just have the hype showcase and it's just good news from there.
They have
So
done that
instead
before,
of-
They
right?
do tend to
They
do
have.
that.
Yeah.
They
Instead of it being like, woo, exciting, then they're like, by the way, Gambit's axed and we can't
Yeah,
make
true.
maps or armor.
Ah!
So then that I saw a bunch of people come into my chat that were like, Briar actually made me feel pretty like better about it. That we're get all the bad stuff out the way so I can go be excited.
They
Briar being
do.
an optimist.
They do
Yes.
hype as good as any company I've ever seen, right? It's like when this
Yeah.
trailer hits, we're a week away now, right? From
The
like,
showcase.
the showcase, and we're gonna find out more about like what's beyond the final shape. And I'm positive that they want to leave that like open for celebration and for hype, right? So
Yeah.
they don't want to ruin it a week later by telling you that your favorite game mode Gambit is going away. I'm sorry, I couldn't even say that with a straight face.
So my sort of like reaction to it, now that I've had a week to process as well, is one, I am sad that Destiny PvP I don't think it will go any further and really like developing or become big or become sort of return to being popular or anything like that. And I think that is sad because I do actually think Destiny PvP offers something that the market currently doesn't. I don't think you can play a game anywhere close to Destiny and go grind random roles and have loadouts and have all this build crafting and then take it into a PvP arena where you actually can have some advantage from the work you put into other parts of the game. I think that is incredibly unique, and I just kind of feel sad that it's the thing that never was, and it kind of hurts to see resources put into other parts of the game and that be left aside. That being said, I mean that's the way it's been for many years now. So this was kind of just like the confirmation and sort of the realization that it's not going to drastically change between now and, or at least final shape. I guess we have to wait to see if there's any other news about it in, the showcase, and maybe, big fat copium, maybe something's replacing it. Maybe there's another announcement. Maybe there's something else that puts this into better context and justifies it. But, we obviously have to wait and see. The other odd thing is, even though I have those feelings, someone's like, yeah, but nothing changes for you, does it, Matt? I'm like, it doesn't. Like, I mainly interact with PvE content. I mainly do raids and dungeons. Like, it doesn't really impact me. It doesn't impact the lore, but I still feel sad for something that I feel like had a unique place in the gaming market. And, I think a lot of people have decided to commit until final shape, and then depending what happens after that, potentially leave Destiny anyway. So, we're only talking about another year from of continuing what we've already had. And finally, I do think that I don't know why it makes me feel odd with how Bungie approached all of that. Like, I know they're a company that need to make money. They need to put resources to things that keep making money, but I don't know. I don't know if you guys have the same feeling too. It just makes me feel weird having it portrayed that way, and
it feels corporate. And Bungie for a long time was not super corporate, and and I don't mean that in terms of like Bungie didn't care about money, but in their communications, it felt very like I'm a gamer, you're a gamer, let's talk being gamers. Whereas this wasn't that, which kind of makes it feel a little extra worse.
Yeah, and I think in right now, when you have things like Baldur's Gate 3, Remnant 2, and you have games that like kind of restored my faith in like what a game can be and what it can look like when people have a really strong vision of just delivering something and not everything's smashed into some sort of microtransactional bundle where you got to get the who's do's it's do the you feel like you're not being manipulated all the time. And I know that's not always Bungie, but it was kind of at a time where I was just playing games and remembering that games can be fun and I don't have to like do all the things. And yeah, I don't know if
Live
that makes any
service is
sense.
such a trap, man.
Oh
Live
man,
service games are so expensive to make. They are just I don't think it's
yeah.
feasible for
I
any
think
company to make a live service game for forever.
Yeah, I think that's maybe
it's
that's
possible.
where my mind is going. And like to log into a game and not have a fucking battle pass. Not have some like looming thing over my head that I have to do, and just be like, you know what? I'm just gonna have fun.
My favorite,
Wow.
my favorite is this one. In Street Fighter 6, they added a battle pass, but for a
They
few
did.
dollars more, you can just complete the battle pass and get the shit out of it. Like,
You can pay
Yeah.
$4, you can pay $6. Just give us the $6.
Yeah. So that's sort of how I feel. A lot of like weird emotions, and I don't really know how to describe them yet. And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it doesn't really impact my job as a content creator because of the content I make. But I just kind of feel sad.
Well, I think I think a lot of us know that Destiny's PvP is something that can be exciting and unique and has been that. And we kind of got to look at that at GCX because they held that tournament and it was so fun to
It was
watch.
very exciting to be there live, by the way. And
I
I'm not
can
even a PvP.
imagine.
I'm not even a PvP guy, but when I was like talking to a friend or a vendor, and all of a sudden you hear "Oh!" from the audience, and you
Yeah,
immediately have to turn and see what's going on, and you could feel the buzz and the excitement in the room, and it's like, why doesn't Bungie capitalize on this? It's really
I know.
confusing to me.
yeah.
And it never needed to be like a super hardcore esports and get teams signing up, but investing some time in it. And I think also what kind of killed it is Bungie doesn't allow people to hold competitions over a certain amount of money that you can win. So that kind of kneecapped it as well, right? You can't have one person be like, I'm going to put on a tournament and the winner's going to get $10,000.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I think it's sad. I think they absolutely could have invested more into it and had something really special. I mean, Destiny 1, the beta was all PvP, right? It was like, come check out our new game Destiny. You can only play PvP and then you could go to the moon for like an hour at some point during the beta. So I think it is sad. It's not gonna, I think, drastically affect maybe a lot of people, but I think we all just feel a little bit sad that
Yeah.
they're not
Yeah.
continuing to invest in it.
And it's like, I mean, I think it's probably bundled up with just, I guess, us realizing Destiny is coming to an end as well. Like, I guess that's one of the
Yeah.
other things. Is like, yeah, we are kind of coming to. It's gonna be a decade. It's gonna be like the end of playing Destiny, and not seeing things end on like a high note. I guess like it's that sort of makes it a little bit sad too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't read the whole thing like completely. So, but I did get a little bit of the idea through Twitter and skimming it that I do agree to Briar's point that this is probably only half of the picture. Because like
Yeah.
even it says now, without spoiling anything ahead of the showcase, our next season will be heading into creative territories we've never explored before. We're changing some things up in a big way, including the seasonal progression paradigm with an all new mechanic. All will be revealed August 22nd. And my biggest thing with where we've been and like even with the tuning updates and stuff like that, I'm like all these updates, all these tuning passes, all this stuff really doesn't matter if like what the main purpose of playing Destiny doesn't change in some way
Yeah.
to keep us excited because it's like sure, but when was the last time you really heard, at least I haven't been hearing on social media, really annoying weapons or like gear things, maybe like one or two, but nothing that's like keeping people from playing. It's more just the monotony of the process of playing and not having things change and not getting gear that they want and all this other stuff. So they're aware of it, and I do hope that whatever they're planning to change gets us all excited about just playing Destiny again.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
Yeah.
the tough part.
I
Yeah.
agree.
And I know the community said this over many years, like the make or break statement. Like next thing, I think I will admit, I think maybe the showcase might be one of the only times you could say it could be the make or break. And I don't think that I probably mean make or break post final shape. I think a lot of people are
Yeah.
already locked into. They've probably already bought the seasons anyway, right? If you bought Lightfall, most people probably
Yeah.
bought the seasons leading up to final shape. And so whether they probably see this journey out and then finish final shape and then put the controller down and move on.
The final, you said earlier, the final shape kind of like a lot of people have that targeted as like,
Yeah.
I got to see that through, right? Like I got to
Yeah.
see this 10-year story through.
Yeah.
But I think to a lot of people, me included, the final shape is kind of, that's my stepping out point, right? Is like I have got that.
Closure.
Yeah, I've got that marked kind of in my mental calendar. Is like they gotta convince me to see in this showcase and like beyond. They gotta convince me like, hey, like there's a reason to stick to Destiny after
exactly.
after seeing that story of the final shape.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine that's the goal of the showcase, which I'm excited to see regardless, because it's going to be interesting, because that is the goal, is how do you sell Destiny after final shape?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think for a lot of people, sure, there's a ton of people who would have liked to have stopped playing earlier, but they're kind of seeing it as a clean break, right? It's like, okay,
Yeah.
this is when it's almost like getting permission to step off the ride. You're not having to cut it yourself. They're like, yeah, this is a nice conclusion. So yeah, they do have to work pretty hard to be like, hey, come back after final shape.
My biggest
Look what we have.
fear is that they know this and they're going to be like, let's just kind of delay the conclusion of this story out for another 3 years to keep people kind of stuck around.
Well, they have said that this is going to be after the campaign and after the raid will be the conclusion.
My
of
mom
the
said there
saga.
was Santa Claus, and how did that turn out?
Yeah.
We should talk about this week's news.
We should.
You want to start with Dev Insights?
I think maybe we want to do Dev Insights last because it's the longest, or do you want to do the longest?
I don't think we
first?
need to go through piece by piece of the Dev Insights, right? Like we can.
Well,
pick out
no,
some
but it's
highlights.
still significantly longer than everything else.
Yeah.
It's also the oldest news. You want to go old to new?
Sure.
Go old to new. So this is about season 22 abilities and armor changes preview, which is of course next season. We got some exotic changes. We're just gonna hit the changes that are coming up. So, hunters, knucklehead radar. The functionality of the faux tracer exotic helmet has been completely removed from that exotic and added to knucklehead radar. I thought this was a meme when I saw it. I was like, what's going on? For those who don't know what faux tracer does, it visually marks targets after hovering your reticle near an enemy for 1 second, and you'll deal more damage to low health marked targets, and it gives you, I think it's like 20 airborne effectiveness as well, just all the time. So that's being added to Knucklehead Radar.
It kind of makes sense looking at the aesthetic of Knucklehead Radar, to be honest. Like,
Right,
it's always
yeah.
had that like what are you doing with that eyeball?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so that's because currently it literally just provides radar while aiming and enhances your radar while crouched. That's all it does right now. So definitely more fitting of a common new exotic. Faux tracer is getting that removed, and it's going to be essentially an entire new thing. So they say that they took some cues from the popular monochromatic maestro artifact perk, which I do not remember, but I believe them. When you deal damage with one of your abilities, you gain a damage bonus with weapons that have damage types matching your subclass damage type. So you throw a stasis melee or something as a hunter, you're going to get an increased damage to your stasis weapons. If you're using stasis, of course.
I'll bet it.
Additionally, when you defeat an enemy you've damaged with one of your abilities, either with another ability or with the weapon with a damage type matching your subclass, you'll spawn one of the collectible objects, such as ionic traces, fire sprites, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So a really synergetic
Yeah.
armor piece now. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to say how good it's going to be because it just says that you gain a damage bonus. I don't know what that means. It could be 2.
It's
It could
going to be 15%. It's going to be like in line with all the other changes they've done, I think, probably.
That would make sense. Yeah.
That'd be my bet.
That would make sense.
I
Next we
mean,
have
that seems like it's gonna, unless there's a cooldown on the objects you spawn. That seems like that would be pretty strong.
Yes.
pretty strong, yeah. For like
If you have
build
the
making
right
and
build.
stuff with that.
If you're if you're literally just matching your subclass and your gun, like every time you kill something, it's gonna spawn a ionic trace or fire sprite. Like,
It'll be interesting to see if they balance it for PvE and PvP separately.
I imagine so. Well, I mean, you're not really killing that many people in PvP compared to like a line of thrall.
Right.
It's going to be a lot
Says
of
Shax.
collectibles.
Yeah.
Lucky Raspberry They say that this exotic was a little too unreliable in its current form. And it is for sure, but man, does it feel good when you throw a grenade and you get it right back. So what they're doing is they're streamlining the energy gains. So the exotic still expands the chaining capabilities of arc bolt grenades, but now instead of basing the grenade energy gain on those chains, each time you damage an enemy with the lightning strikes from the jolted condition, as well as each time you pick up an ionic trace, you gain grenade energy. And also for those of you that do anything that involves champions, seems like it's going to be pretty good. They've given this grenade the intrinsic ability to stun overload champions. So you don't need to get the jolt effect at all.
That's
You just have a
nice.
lucky
That's great.
raspberry grenade. Boom.
Nice.
It's done. Pretty good. I'm excited to see how much grenade energy you get back because currently Lucky Raspberry is definitely unreliable for sure. But getting the full grenade back and being able to throw it again is really fun. So I hope that you get a decent chunk back from this stuff. And then finally, for hunters, renewal grass, they've just undone the nerf. They nerfed, if you guys recall back when everyone was using renewal grasps with dustfield grenades on
Like
hunters.
infinite nades.
It's just last
keep
the
going
the
around.
thing is massive, like the big
Yeah,
ball is
yeah, yeah.
absolutely humongous, and so they nerfed it by making your grenade cooldown significantly longer when you had renewal grass on. That's not going to be the case anymore. Because yeah, it did turn into, of course you use renewal grass to, of course you don't use renewal grass.
Mhm.
So now you actually will be making a decision of whether you want to use it or not.
Okay.
Titans, you have pretty similar functionalities across Icefall Mantle, Doomfang Pauldrons, Path of the Burning Steps, and Eternal Warrior. They all do pretty similar things. So Icefall Mantle grants an escalating bonus to stasis weapon damage when getting rapid stasis kills, and then when you activate your class ability, you immediately gain the highest tier. Doomfang, same thing, but it's void weapons. And then when you get a void melee kill, you immediately get to the highest tier. Path of Burning Steps, when you get a solar grenade kill, it grants the highest tier of solar weapon damage bonus. And Eternal Warrior, when you use your super, you get a damage bonus to arc. And they did buff it. It used to be 10 seconds. Now it's going to 30 seconds.
Okay.
So yeah, they all function fairly similarly.
A lot of that seems like they parsed out the new technology or the new changes of Foe Tracer into individual exotics. Like Foe Tracer
Mm.
does most of that in one, and these are all separate.
Maybe the damage goes higher
yeah.
because it stacks. I wonder if the
True.
damage caps out, the damage bonus caps out higher because it stacks.
Maybe. Yeah.
I mean, activating your class ability and getting max stacks sounds pretty good. Because the void one requires of course you get it by getting rapid void kills, but to get the max stacks you have to get a melee kill, and then the solar you have to get a solar grenade kill. Whereas Icefall Mantle is just use your class ability. What do you think, Mylan the Titan? You gonna be whipping out your mantle fang steps, Warriors?
I'm going to be, well, actually, I was going to say I'll be slide shotgunning with Ante as well. It's actually, no, I don't know what I'm doing. I haven't been playing Destiny. Be real with you. Bit of sad boy.
Well, maybe you'll be excited about the ACD feedback fences.
Who?
Okay.
What?
Hit me up. What we got?
ACDC feedback fences.
Daka.
I'm pretty excited.
Daka.
Okay, so this exotic got a complete mechanical rework and now ties into the armor charge system, increasing its versatility and making it more useful in scenarios where you might not be taking a lot of melee damage. With the new perk, which completely replaces the old, when melee hits give you an armor charge, you take reduced melee damage while you have that armor charge. And then taking melee damage causes you to emit a burst of damaging arc energy that jolts targets, consuming your armor charge and dealing more damage based on the number of stacks consumed. Now, it is worth noting here that the damage dealt by the burst of arc energy should be comparable to its current damage for 0 to 3 stacks of armor charge. But the
Eh.
cool thing is that you can use all of like the armor charge mods, and feedback fences are just gonna like give you armor charge. You don't for someone punching you or something.
Wonder if you
When
can
melee
one-shot.
hits give you an armor charge.
Read it
What does
back.
that mean?
When you get hit, you get an armor charge.
When melee hits. When you get hit.
When you I think.
When you
When
get
melee
armored.
hit.
When
Yeah.
melee hit,
melee
charge
hit.
get.
This is written in Titan.
You take reduced melee damage. So you don't get reduced melee damage until you get punched once, and then you have an armor charge, and then you take the reduced melee damage.
Yes. And then you'll do the burst of arc energy that jolts them as well. So it's not just a burst of damage anymore, it's also jolt.
The first time you get punched, do you do the burst of arc energy, or only once you get punched once, you get an armor
You got to
charge,
get the
you
charge
punched
first.
again.
Yeah. So you got to get punched once to get the charge.
So it's kind of like a nerf buff.
Yeah, it's like a sideways adjustment. It's a side.
Isn't it the way it works
Side.
in PvP right now? If you just get punched once, it just activates straight away.
I think
Yes.
so.
Right.
It's annoying.
But you get to jolt people, you know?
So
When
it
you get
sounds like
armor
this was
charge,
probably
it builds into armor charge.
probably gonna work better in PvE now, by the sounds of it.
Probably, yeah, because you can just get all the armor charge with light, whatever mods they call them these days. And
Yeah, it sounds like you're just gonna punch the shit out of everything.
just
get
by
armor
getting
charges,
punched,
and
you
then
got armor charge,
yeah,
and it
and then
builds
just
into
get
all your
everything
mods. So
back.
pretty cool. Pretty
We'll
interesting.
see.
And then finally for Titans, we have Hollow Fire Heart. This exotic often stands in the shadow of the more ubiquitous Heart of Inmost Light. To
True.
remedy that, we've removed its base energy to solar abilities and replaced it with a perk that will let you build more into sunspots. They don't say what, it just says you're gonna see more sunspots on the battlefield.
Okay.
It builds into sunspots. What
I mean,
does Hollow Fire Heart
sunspots-
do?
Who
It
knows?
basically gives you more solar energy when you use solar stuff, right?
So
I
pretty
used to
much
use
like
it-
a
So they've
worse
they've
version of Heart of
removed
Inmost
that.
Light.
Yeah.
Right, but if you're using like Tiny Bonk Hammer, wasn't it a superior energy refill for a while?
I mean, if you're using Tiny Bonk Hammer, you don't really need anything else. So
To like charge up your super and stuff. Because I used to use it.
I repeat again, if you're using Tiny Bonk Hammer, you don't even need super. Okay.
All right.
All
I
right,
really
no.
don't. So I don't really understand what this is gonna do then, because it says that they're taking away like that, but it says that we replaced it with a perk that will let you build more into sunspots. What's the perk?
But that'll be interesting
Hello?
because I mean, obviously you can make just ridiculous amounts of sunspots with the Tiny
Quite high.
Bonk Hammer build, right? And sunspots are uber powerful because you get restoration and
Regeneration.
yeah, whatever. You get your health back, right? Standing in sunspots, and it kills everything. So, I mean, if it allows you to make like sunspots at a distance, that would be kind of cool rather than having like a bonk hammer where you have to be right in everyone's faces making sunspots. If you can make sunspots, you know, with a solar weapon at distance, that might be nice.
It's just so funny that they just didn't say what the new exotic is gonna do. They're like giving
It
a perk
does
sunspots.
Things are gonna happen. Love it.
Someone forgot to do their homework at Bungie. You're like, okay,
They're like-
the club's going out.
They're like they mentioned something about sunspots. Just put that in there. Sunspots are cool. Just put that in. Okay, moving on to Warlocks. I'm not gonna lie, this first one has me maybe gonna load up a Void Warlock next
Has me
season.
sad considering I have to be a hunter for a season now.
This is what happened to me when Radiant Dance Pants came out, and I didn't get them for like 6 months because I wasn't playing a hunter. Warlocks. Astrocyte Verse. We've added 2 more pieces of functionality to this exotic. Enemies near you when you blink become volatile.
Yeah.
Additionally, when you're using the Nova Warp Super, the Dark Blink ability no longer consumes super energy.
So, for those who don't know what Astrocyte Verse does, it gives you an extra blink charge. So you
Yep.
can blink, jump, and then also you jump further with your blink.
You do, yes.
So
And
that's
it brings
basically what it was.
you can ready your weapons faster as well, right? Just like improves blink. Or did they
Yeah.
remove that?
Yeah, so you can pull stuff out in air earlier, I think.
Yeah.
So now you're gonna make things blow up on top of it.
Yeah, you're gonna be jumping
does sound
around.
good.
Doesn't that sound fun? Making
Yeah.
everything volatile just by like jumping around them.
Yeah, and you're also getting rid of the stupid floaty jump because you got blink.
Well, like jumping through the raid with blink is very difficult, as we found out
Maybe it is for you.
a few weeks ago.
So yeah, I'm like, ooh, might load up the Warlock next season and try jumping around some
Yeah, that
stuff
does
and
sound
see how
fun,
that feels.
actually.
Does sound fun.
Get my Warlock hat out.
Briar, we've seen you in game as a Warlock already.
Yeah,
We know
saw
your secret.
pretender to the throne.
He's a real life Titan. That's all that matters.
Geomag stabilizers. While we've often heard calls to restore the perk that lets you top off your super energy by sprinting, they said no, it's stupid. We're not doing that. Instead, we wanted to give players a way to get more super energy, no matter how charged their super is. Now, picking up an ionic trace while wearing this exotic will grant Guardians additional super energy. So if you're popping off as a Warlock in the Crucible and you're getting a bunch of ionic traces, you might get your super kind of fast.
Well, and the whole idea of an ionic trace is to give you more super energy, right? So does it
Yeah.
give you more super
More?
energy?
More.
I'm gonna
Double,
say yes.
Okie dokie.
I'm gonna say it's a double triple.
Prove it.
That sounds pretty good too.
Yeah, if you're running that stuff already, for sure.
Yeah. Next we have Wings of Sacred Dawn, where they're leaning into the orbital weapons platform fantasy.
This is kind of sick.
Typically, reloading was the main cause for a float to end. This exotic now automatically reloads solo weapons, including the weapon you're holding, from reserves each time you get a kill while aiming down sights.
What?
Yeah. And they said try this with Xenophage. That sounds
Oh
like pretty
my
good
God.
boss DPS to be able to sit there and just.
Just like hanging.
Well, you got to get a kill, right?
Oh, that's true.
But if there's like
ads
minions
around.
around a
There's
boss,
ads,
yeah, then you could
Mm.
just pop one and refill and then go back to DPS.
Yeah.
I mean, they've already got like a reload weapon anyway with the air dash. I can't remember what the boots are called.
It's true.
Actually, Galahorn. Because Xeno's
yeah.
not good boss DPS, but Galahorn often has stuff going everywhere anyways.
That's true.
So it
yeah.
might pick up small enemies while you're doing DPS at the same time.
I mean,
Oh,
it'd be
man,
great for
that could be
ad
good.
clear. Like that would be really fun with ad clear, just firing like Galahorns.
Yeah, that would be just fun to try, right?
Yeah, that kind of would be.
Oh, you know what might be kind of fun is using Devil's Ruin with it, and then like you get the charge kill on someone or something, and then you get enough back because you only need one bullet in your gun to do the Devil's Ruin charge. So you could just get one bullet back. Boom, you get to do it again. That sounds fun.
Skyburners would be like literally an AC-130.
It
Just
would
flying around.
be.
Man, Gambit would really. Oh,
Well, Gambit's getting a map. It's not over yet. It's not over yet. They're getting a map back.
isn't that the whatever, the sniper pistol is one that a lot of people use in Gambit when they're invading?
Ad clearing with Parasite, that would be hilarious. Just firing worms.
Like, what's Bobby doing? He's flying. There's worms everywhere. Finally, for Warlocks, you got Winter's Guile, which essentially is going to. They've added a new perk specifically for when you're playing with the Stasis subclass. Now, combatants encased by your Penumbral Blast melee will automatically shatter after a short delay.
I think
So you
Warlocks
actually
won
have a little
this.
bit of range with Winter's Guile
Right?
now.
Yeah. Like the Warlock exotic changes make me go, ooh, I want to try that.
Yeah.
How are you going with the Titan, by the way?
I did a little bit of new light. I got to a room that I was like, why there? So Shadowkeep Dungeon. There's a bunch of just like Shadowkeep Dungeon assets in this room. Like, why
Really?
is all of this here? Yeah, exactly that. So you're going through and there's like a thing swinging, there's like things rotating everywhere. Some of it's
Spikes.
clipping in a wall. I'm like, what is going on here? But yeah, the new light experience actually so far has been kind of cool.
Okay.
because
haven't
the
done it yet.
opening cutscene tells you all about all the races in Destiny. It tells you about the different classes. It tells you about the witness and like gearing that up as well. So yeah.
Do we know if it's changed much in the last 2 years?
Yeah, I think they changed it to add the witness to it, to the opening cutscene. So whenever the witness was like fully revealed with their plans is when they changed it. So pretty recently. They kind of added to it. So now we have abilities preview. So we're just going to read. If you want to read in depth about why they're doing it, what their goals were, go and check out the abilities TWAB dev insight thingy. But we're just going to go over the changes. Titans, you're still too strong. But Towering Barricade. Titans Towering Barricade. Base cooldown increased from 48 seconds to 70.
Wow.
That's like 60% more, or something like that.
Jesus Christ.
Pretty big nerf.
Mm.
It's almost 70%, 68% difference.
Oh, so close to 69.
Surely they can't do anything else to him.
Well, so like the dev insight thing about this is kind of interesting because it says that they've been experimenting for ways to play around barricades with like anti-barrier rounds or exotic weapons, origin traits, subclass buffs. But they said that, however, it's clear in the heat of the moment, these kinds of out of combat decisions aren't really coming into play, so they're just nerfing the barricade.
Is this mainly because of PvP? Is that
Yes.
why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get to what they're doing to compensate PvE. So all barricades, the maximum health has been reduced from 600 to 500,
Got
and damage resistance versus PvE combatants has been increased to compensate.
Oh.
So they will have more resistances in PvE.
Yeah, I mean, look, even as a Titan, it's a very strong utility that was almost always up and could give you overshields and could be used to get reses and could be used to block off doorways and,
Yeah.
you know, really makes it difficult for people to challenge you even if you're one shot. You know, they got to like push through a barrier or put them in themselves in a weird position. So, you know, and obviously the community's been raging about fucking Titans having free void shields in PvP for quite a while.
Yeah.
So, you know.
It does.
Yeah,
It definitely
yes.
does slow down, like an entire Crucible game, right? Just having like Titans with that ability slows the game down for everyone because it's like, oh, let me stand here and take out your barricade first. No, now we can play, and then it's a 48-second base cooldown, is what it was. So that's before you even have max resilience, which you do as a Titan. So it'll be a little bit slower. Next up, Titans. You're on the nerf pad again. Thunder Crash. Increased
What?
base cooldown from 500 seconds to 556.
That's like 11.2%. That's a weird
Yeah,
percentage.
that's
You got a calculator over there?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Do you know what? You know what I would have
Disney
preferred?
calculator?
Why not? I mean, oh man, Titan bubbles. I'm a Titan, and Titan bubbles piss me off because you can't really counter them. The counter to the Titan bubble is a Thunder Crash, and even if you got to be really popping off to get your Thunder Crash in time to deal with an automatic win in trials with the Titan bubble.
Right. Yeah.
So this
Or
is
you
going to
have
make
to
it
have a
even
rage
harder.
shotgun, or you have to be using stasis hunter and have your super up.
So
Yeah. There's many moments where I'm just like, can't do anything
Ah.
about that.
Kind of confused by it. Did you feel like Thunder Crash was an issue? I mean, there's a lot of Arc Titans, but I don't know if Thunder Crash is the thing
Well,
that's really
so their
bad.
reasoning-
damage. That's the
Yeah.
only thing I can think of.
The reasoning is that it's a one-off super, but they said in practice its kill potential is closer to that of a roaming super. So they're just making
will
the
fly
cooldown to
around with it.
match the roaming super, basically.
I mean, that being said, when I do get killed by Thunder Crash, I'm constantly raging at the people that do the drive-bys and then when they spin off, you're like, God damn you.
Yeah. So I guess that makes sense.
I can't
when,
do
like,
it, but yeah.
you want to You want it to match the other roaming supers and not have it be this one-off thing because it's like a really good roaming super and a really good shutdown panic super. They're like you gotta have a longer cooldown for that. Next, we
Like,
have
so I don't know. I mean, that feels like it's like we're gonna nerf this because people are using it too well. It's like people are too good at flying as a Titan, so we're gonna like change it a bit to match a roaming super.
Yeah, it's all your fault, Titans,
Yeah.
silly
for being
Titans.
too good at the thing.
Mm.
Next we have knockout, which they are reducing the damage bonus versus players from 50 to 30. I'm gonna say, I think they're hitting the wrong thing here. I think it's the range that you get with knockout that is the big problem. Because in our current Destiny 2, the video game construct of online multiplayer, they're just teleporting everywhere. You can blink twice, 15 times in the sky, and a knockout Titan will be able to melee you and go into space to hit you.
I don't
I
even know
think
what
the-
knockout is. What's
Is
knockout?
that
Are you
the
not
charge
using
melee
knockout?
thing?
Is that just a fragment
It's
aspect?
the,
Mm,
the
What?
charge melee thing, right?
it's not the charge melee.
Oh,
No. It's if you tickle a Titan, they will do 8 billion damage with their melee to you and hit you from across the map. Just by looking at them slightly funny.
I mean,
And
they
it
got
heals.
they got synthos anyway, so who cares?
Well, yes, but that's the thing, right? They should have to use an exotic to get that.
I think your point, melee lunges is probably the single most aspect of Destiny that is scattered throughout many abilities and exotics. It completely breaks melee in PvP. And
Yeah.
it's super annoying. I wish it was like Halo and you got to be eating ass to get a,
Me
get a
too,
melee
yeah.
kill.
Same.
I want to see the whole screen. I want to see the most tiny Titan left hooks.
bring back the assassinations, right? The one hit behind the back.
Yeah. Could be right on them.
Yeah. So they'll do less damage, but they still have the heal and they still have the range. And it's just you ever tried to help a teammate that's getting punched on by a knockout Titan and you're like, I can't hit him. I don't know what you want from me. He's teleporting all over the place with that punch. Not a
Knock out
chance
your
in hell.
aspect. Look, I'll be honest. I don't really muck around with my aspects and fragments anymore. I've literally got my anti wards on. I just slide shotgun everyone. Like, it's
Which they're not touching, by the way. That was the drama of this
oh, was that the drama?
article. That was the drama. They're like,
They-
we're not hitting Antaeus wards?
I mean, they did the thing that the community always asked them to do, right? They're buffing a bunch of stuff to be more in line with the things that
True.
are
Yeah.
strong, as opposed to nerfing the one thing. It like as soon
Well,
as we started reading this, I was like, power creep? Like they're buffing a lot of stuff.
The hard thing with Antaeus, it's not just Antaeus. It's the combination of
Sure.
Juggernaut Titan getting
Yeah.
the shields, then having a second of being able to slide, having increased slide distance, and then meleeing across the map. And it is all those specific things together that is super strong. And I don't think it's not just one thing. It's when the Power Rangers combined to form Megazord, whatever it is, that it becomes too powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Strand. Strand's getting a nerf. So, suspend, they're reducing base suspend duration versus non champion PvE combatants from 8 seconds to 5 seconds. Thread of continuity now extends this duration to 7 seconds, down from 12. Reduced base suspend duration versus champion combatants from 8 seconds to 3 seconds, 4 seconds with
Whoa.
thread of continuity. It's a pretty big nerf. And increased snap damage dealt to suspend boss combatants by 67%.
Oh, that sucks.
So that's suspend the nerf. I mean, it was
everyone
just like
thought-
suspend the champions and they
Yeah,
can't move forever.
That's true. That's true.
It was pretty spicy and it was pretty fun to play around with it, and to have it for that long, it probably was a bit strong, right? So,
Yeah, definitely.
but was anyone complaining about it?
I mean,
No.
it was very useful in Master Raid stuff. I will tell you that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The reason why I didn't have a huge issue with how Strand was is it was kind of redundant to have too much Strand because it was so powerful. So you kind of got to have like a single person run Strand and then other people run something else.
Yeah. I mean, the main use for
But
it
it
in
was
PvE,
strong.
the main use for it in PvE is to stun, though. So that seems like it's still intact, which I don't think these timers are really going to impact all that much in PvE. So
Mm.
I think then it becomes more of a PvP nerf.
Next we have Thread of Mind. Reduced class energy gain based on the tier of the defeated target. Minor combatants reduced from 15% to 10%. Major combatants and players reduced from 25% to 15%. Bosses, champions, and mini bosses reduced from 50% to 25%. That's just a fragment. Thread of Generation reduced the overall energy gain per damage event against PvE enemies by about 20%. So I'm sure it's like some silly number that's not worth putting there. Rebalance the energy gain multiplier across primary weapon archetypes. We wanted to bring the energy gains for dealing damage with precision weapons and fully automatic weapons closer together. And overall, we've reduced the efficiency of fully automatic primary weapons and increased the efficiency of precision primary weapons to compensate. Next, we have Threadlings, which I'm excited about. They've increased Threadling damage versus PvE combatants by 30%.
Nice.
Very nice.
Warlocks, I'm going to miss you.
Tangles reduced tangle creation cooldown time from 15 seconds to 12 seconds. And Sever, PvE combatants affected by Sever now have their outgoing damage reduced by 40% versus 30%. So those are all Strand buffs.
The Tangles is actually, for those who like to zoom around, that'll be fun.
Yeah, right?
Angles will be cool.
Yeah. Next they
Oh,
have
sorry, I was thinking
the...
Threadlings. That's cool.
Oh, yeah,
The
Threadlings just do
Tangles,
more
the
damage.
balls, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you said Tangles, and in my head I was like, oh, Threadlings. But yeah. I kind of like as a I've never really played around with Threadlings because I've never really had the Strand Warlock. So
Those things can run rampant.
yeah, I think that might be cool.
Mm-hmm. Next, we have the Strand Hunters Super. They're increasing Silk Strike damage resistance from 40% to 45%, reduced suppression time between Silk Strike Super air attacks, and reduced vertical lift provided by Silk Strike heavy air attack to reduced instances of missing the primary target.
Okay.
It was good, because yeah, you just feel like paper in that super. So we'll see how getting an extra 5%.
5%.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if that how that feels.
As Diablo numbers there, you should be happy it's not 2.1%.
Yeah, 2.5%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next, we have the Hunter's Aspect Threaded Spectre, which they said is performing well in PvP, but they're going to buff it for PvE. So increased this Threaded Spectre lifetime from 10 to 12 seconds, increased Threaded Spectre health versus PvE combatants. Threaded Spectre now takes longer to detect nearby PvE combatants at the beginning of its lifespan. So if you don't know, it will blow up when it detects something, so it's going to give it a bit longer on the field. PvE combatants now more consistently focus on the Threaded Spectre instead of the Hunter, and allied players no longer have reticle magnetism towards Threaded Spectre. That's good.
That's nice.
Yeah, that is really
Oh,
nice.
allied players, yeah, no, you're very nice.
Yeah.
Cool one.
Next we have the Broodweaver's Wanderer Aspect. So the Wanderer. Destroying a Tangle now creates a delayed suspending detonation. Increase suspend detonation radius from 6 to 7 meters against PvE combatants. And increased thrown Wanderer Tangle detonation damage to match standard Tangle detonations. This seems pretty good.
Nice.
Because now you can just shoot it and suspend them. Which is like where they're kind of bringing what the artifact mod was and putting it all in the Wanderer. Pretty cool. Next they have Strand Grapple. So of course the grapple melee is like really good for getting around the map, but if you have not separated your charged melee from your regular melee, you will always throw your melee no matter what. So now when you're grappling, grapple melee will always take priority while active, regardless of whether or not a target is within range. So that's gonna make you able to. You're not just gonna throw your melee out. Because that's the problem. People are like, how are you grapple meleeing? And zooming around the map, and I'm like, because I had to separate them, otherwise you can't use so much
Yeah,
of
see,
the
I never had this
functionality.
issue because I
Hard to do
played
with
Titan.
controller, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yep. And then we just have a couple of adjustments to some fragments. Pretty sure fragments. Thread of propagation gives you +10 strength. Thread of continuity no longer grants +10 strength. Thread of wisdom no longer requires a precision kill to activate. Thread of
Just
isolation.
imagine Bungie walking in a room, bang, hey, continuity, give it to propagation, it's their turn, give them 10 strength. Okay, sorry about that.
Spinning a wheel. Ooh, remove 10 strength. Ooh.
Dude,
Pass
give
it
it-
on.
Yeah. Thread of isolation reduce the number of precision hits required to activate by an average of around 30%, varies by weapon archetype. Thread of rebirth, the number of created threadlings now increases based on the tier of the defeated targets. Minor commands, elite commands, boss. So you're gonna make more threadlings.
Babies.
And that is that article. That's it. Some stuff to look forward to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I wanna
there's some cool
blink.
stuff in there.
And I think Knucklehead Radar might be like one of the better exotics for Hunter now.
Well, and
I
Phone
always get a lot
Tracer
of
too,
confused.
because it inhibits all the other stuff now.
True. Yeah.
There was an interesting article. I think a lot of people had wondered what would happen when we lost Lance Reddick, like what would happen with Commander Zavala and how Bungie would move on. So they have announced that Keith David is going to take on the role of Commander Zavala moving forward in the final shape and beyond.
You may know Keith David from, if you're a Bungie fan, from Halo 2. He was the Arbiter in Halo 2. He has been in so many things. He's
been
I
an
can't
actor
even
for a
list the
long
amount of
time.
things he's.
Question though.
Yeah.
How often, and there's probably some that I can't remember, how often is he a good guy?
Oh, a lot.
Is he?
Yeah. Yeah.
I almost always know him as like some kind of maniacal evil, or you know what I mean? Like he's really good at doing that.
Yeah, he's a good actor. He's a really good actor. He's been
He's very
acting
good.
for honestly, I was joking around before the show, but the first time I really remember him was in Men at Work with Emilio Estevez and Charlie Sheen, where he played kind of the crazy boss guy. He was so fun in that movie. And that
I
was
was
in
just
like
looking it
the
up.
late 80s, early 90s, right?
Well, yeah, I was looking this up. I was like, is he something about Mary's dad? He is. I was
Wait,
like, is that
what?
what? Yeah, he's the dad. It's something about Mary. Yeah.
He's been in so many things.
Yeah,
he
yeah,
is-
yeah.
He's a great actor. He's been in a ton of video game stuff. His IMDb is like a mile long.
Yeah.
So it'll be great to have him. I mean, it's hard to replace Lance Reddick for sure.
Right,
And
yeah.
he'll be sorely missed for a long time. But it'll be fun to welcome Keith David as well.
I think this is really the best thing Bungie could have done in kind of an impossible situation, because obviously they're not going to use AI to continue his voice. I don't think Bungie would do that. Killing off Zavala the character, but like not having voice work recorded for that would just be Zavala like dying silently, which feels very weird. And of course, I'm pretty sure Bungie said that Lance had recorded voice lines up to the final shape. But it would be super strange to not have Zavala in the final shape, the end of this saga. So I think they got an incredible an incredible actor whose voice is kind of similar to Lance's. So I think he'll do a great job in the role. And he's already been on Twitter and put out a video saying hi to all Guardians and saying thank you for welcoming me. So
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
My question is, do you guys think that this solidifies his future as a character in the game? You know, assuming Destiny
Well, it
goes
seems
beyond the
like
final
it.
shape.
Post final shape.
Right.
Definitely post final shape.
I mean, they
Oh,
could
it's
just be
also worth
saying that to
noting-
like throw your nose off, like, oh, they're just gonna kill him in the
Oh.
final shape. It would be fun.
Well, they might, but
That
they
would
they
be
need
wild.
voice lines for it, right?
Yeah, they
So,
definitely need voice
yeah.
lines. It would
It's
be
just like,
fun
"Ugh."
to have some consequences in the final shape, right? Like, I don't know what's after the final shape. We'll learn more about that soon. But, this is a big event in the world of Destiny, and it would be fun to have some casualties, right? And to move on into the next phase of Destiny's future with some, like, some new players, right? Make room
Tell
for
you what,
some new guardians and some new player.
Shax
bit
and
of a
Drifter are
different cast.
sweating right now.
That's true.
That's true. Shax hasn't done a goddamn thing this entire time.
Drifter's like,
But
bro,
Drifter
I'm just,
especially, yeah.
I'm looking after Gambit, but I swear I got lots more to offer. I swear to you. Plenty of character development here.
What are the chances that Zavala becomes like taken
Mm-hmm.
or something, and his voice changes part of the story in that way?
Honestly, I thought they were going to retire Zavala just from a lore point of view. I think Zavala and Akora are like primed to be retired as a Vanguard post final
Sure,
shape. I
sure.
actually made a video about like, I actually think Drifter, Eris, and Sloan were sort of coming into their own and getting their own like
Yeah.
comeback
That
stories
makes sense.
post Light and Dark, right after we finished Light and Dark Saga and there's no more sort of judgment of the dark arts, so to speak. Because you remember like D1, like Eris was kind of shunned, and we've sort of had that transformation and journey
Still creepy though.
until yeah, she's still a little creepy, but she's kind of cute with Drifter, so that's nice.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It is also worth noting that I want to make sure we mention this for anyone concerned. They're not going to be removing any of Lance's lines from the game. All of the ones that he has recorded and that, we are yet to hear from him are going to stay in the game. This is just going to be new voice lines from Keith.
Like they did with our ghost.
Well, they completely removed all the ghost stuff.
Do you think he will try to imitate Lance, or do you think he'll put his own spin on like Zavala?
I think he'll
mean,
put
if it's
his own spin on it. I think he might start by kind of easing it in
Yeah, that's true.
and then kind of like down the road, I would imagine.
But I mean, like with the Ghost and with Cade, it was kind of sort of similar. Maybe not the Ghost as much.
It was
but
similar, yeah.
definitely with Cade. It was hard to tell that it wasn't, the original Cade
Yeah.
voice for a
And then
long
you heard
time.
some lines and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
What was that?
So,
The ghost sounded nothing like
right.
they were like not similar at all.
Yeah, it had much more emotion than the original the original Ghost. We've awoken the hive.
Next we have a TWAB, which there's really only one big thing here, and this is about the exotic mission Rotator, because that's coming in season 22. I actually think this is a bit of a dub, but you guys let me know. So they're adding a seasonal rotator, which is a home for seasonal exotic missions after the year has passed, so you can reacquire the exotics. They're going to make exotic weapons entering the playlist craftable. You're going to be able to play on normal and legendary, and you're also going to get a bunch of armor and craftable weapons with a thematic overlap with the associated mission. So, for example, with Presage, we have Dead Man's Tale. It's now craftable with a new trait pool, DMT is. So that's interesting. But you're also going to get armor and weapons from Season of the Haunted. So Nezaric's Whisper, Bump in the Night, etc. You're also getting opulent weapons. Ostringer, Drang, Beloved, Callus, Mini Tool.
Oh, craftables.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so have you missed out on getting them the first time around?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's got the Ida Eidolon Pursuant armor set in there as well.
Okay.
Vox Obscura. Now, it does require ownership of Beyond Light or Season of the Haunted. So keep that in mind. You need to own the thing to get the stuff. TLDR. Vox Obscura is getting Dead Messenger, now craftable with an additional trait. And you're going to get Season of the Risen armor and weapons. Explosive Personality, Recurrent Impact, Under Your Skin, and Tusked Allegiance armor set. Seraph's Shield Exotic Weapon Revision 0, still craftable. And then you're also going to get Season of the Seraph weapons. So you have seasonal weapons like Fire and Forget, Disparity, but then you also have Ikelos weapons and the Warmind Avatar armor set. So I thought this was pretty cool.
Yes.
I think this is a good way for people entering Destiny that feel like they can't catch up and there's all these craftables or something enters the meta and they're like, well, I can't get it because I wasn't here during Season of
Right.
Seraph. This kind of feels like a nice way for people to catch back up if they're entering the franchise, and craftables are a great way to put time into Destinies, and as things change in the meta, you can change your weapons. So
My kid is like
I
that.
feel
He
like
didn't start until like I think it was year 3 of Destiny 2, so he missed out on some of the stuff that's on this list. So he'll appreciate this. I don't think he got the Ikelos stuff.
And obviously they're great activities, this is a great activities for strong rewards. I think this seems like a W for sure, and being able to craft, because I do think crafting is in a weird spot where it's like they're just gonna keep adding crafted weapons. Like it's kind of like there's a lot now. There's a lot of crafted weapons, and I kind of prefer this actually to bring stuff back and to have it in an activity that's at least decent.
To bring stuff back, I agree. I'm not a huge fan of it for new stuff. I personally like the dopamine drop stuff
Same.
too, but this was one of the questions that I think I can talk about this when I did do the one Bungie summit. They asked like, what do you prefer? Do you prefer crafted weapons or getting stuff? And it's got to be a healthy mix. If they did too much of one or the other, it'd be tough.
Yeah, healthy mix. Yeah, but I think this feels pretty well placed. I think it feels kind of right.
100%.
Yeah,
I'd like to see him revisit how to buy all the stuff, like kind of revisit packaging old content in with new stuff, because it's super confusing still. Like looking at the store and trying to like figure out like what do I need to buy? How old is this stuff? Like the base level of Destiny needs to be moved up to include more legacy content.
Agree.
I don't know why that's not high on the priority list. I don't know if they just feel like it's fine, or they make too much money because people buy mistakes. I don't know why why that barrier is not addressed more, of how people can easily understand what they need to purchase when playing Destiny.
Probably be the monetization team, right?
People say money, 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 but wouldn't you make more money if you make it easier for people to buy your game?
I think so. It puts people off. They look at it and they're like, never mind. I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to do.
So that's never happened to me for Destiny, but that has happened to me for games where I've been like, okay, I heard about this game. Maybe I heard about it on SideQuest, or maybe I was just reading an article about it. It's a few years old. I'm going to go check it out. I'm like, oh, God. Okay, so you buy the base game, then there's 4 expansions, which they sell all individually. Plus, there's all this like kind of extraneous DLC. There's like 20 items of DLC listed, and I'm thinking to myself, which ones of these do I need to get started? Should I just buy the base game, or is this DLC or expansion gonna like be like, start at a halfway point in the game? I don't know that without playing the game. Like at some point, especially with an older game, you need to like consolidate this stuff, make one package so a new player can come to your older game and just jump in and not have to worry about any of that, because it's very confusing and it's put me off of buying a game. I'm like, fuck it, it's not worth it. I don't want to deal with the mental stack of having to figure out like which of these expansions and DLCs, because sometimes they're overlapping, right? It's like they'll have like a package like this isn't the case with Destiny, but for an example, they might have like Shadowkeep and Beyond Light, and then also have a package of Shadowkeep and Beyond Light. And like, well, you don't want to buy both, so but you might not know as a new player that it's a package of both. Like that can be really confusing, and simplifying that is a lot easier.
Imagine then going into a Destiny 2 streamer and asking, and the streamer like has my response, which is, I have no fucking idea.
Exactly.
That's what everyone says.
Because I've been buying this stuff as we go.
It should be like $60, and that includes everything up to like maybe a year ago, right?
Yeah, I can't even say like a year and a half, but 2 years I think is too much.
And then anything going forward obviously is separate. And then like once all of that content has eclipsed, and those things from the season's past drop off and you can't even play them anymore, you know, at that point they should just be bundled in with the base version.
Yeah.
True.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I was gonna
Oh, well.
ask, like, what if they would have made all the sunset weapons that they sunset and brought back craftable? Like everything.
Right.
Like stuff, because I feel like that would alleviate some of the frustration from the user base where it's like, oh, we got to regrind for the weapons again. It's like, well, now you can pick and choose, right? If
Yeah,
you
and you can craft it.
right, I feel like that would be nice.
Oh, I think crafting such like a hard topic, and there's like very divided people on people who like crafting and don't like crafting or prefer the random drops, and I think it's a really hard thing to balance.
I prefer random drops as a game player, but there's just so many weapons in the pool now that it's frustratingly difficult to get what you want or the role that you
Yeah.
want, and it just people
Yeah.
stop. So because of that, I feel like crafting is necessary. But if there was like only 100 guns in the game, I would much prefer just drops.
Mm.
I do want
shall
to
I
get to Twitter
tell-
questions pretty quickly here because we
Okay.
missed it last week.
Okay. Yeah, we could just go over real quick how the rotator's gonna work, because there is some nuance to how it's gonna work. So your first completion of the mission on normal or legendary will give you the exotic deep sight weapon, so you can go craft it. Each completion on normal or legendary version of the exotic mission will award an intrinsic upgrade that can be used when crafting the exotic weapon.
Okay.
Each completion of the legendary version of the exotic mission will award a catalyst upgrade. So it sounds like as long as it's focused that week, you can just farm it and knock it all out.
Okay. Cool.
Armor and weapon rewards. The normal and legendary versions of the missions have separate weekly reward lockouts. So the weekly mission rewards gets one guaranteed deep sight weapon that has not had its pattern unlocked and one armor piece that has not already been obtained. If all weapons and patterns and armors have been obtained, a random world drop will be awarded, which is kind of nice because it is kind of hard to farm world drops. Like there will be a weapon that they've introduced into the world loot pool, and you're like, guess I'll just hope Banshee gives it to me at some point.
So I read this following that as like as you continue to do this, you have a higher chance to get stuff that you haven't gotten before. Do you think that that's the case, or is it just RNG until you get the full pool?
It seems like it's RNG based on things you don't have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if it's like one of those things where you have one thing and then you do it the next week and you get something you don't have, and then you do it the next time and you get something you don't have, that's nice, really, to prevent some of that frustration of like, man, I have gotten everything but the bond or whatever
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
after 6 months.
Yeah, so you're going to get one, or it's a weekly mission, and you're guaranteed to get a deep sight
Yep.
weapon of a pattern you haven't completely
That's nice. Yeah.
unlocked.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's nice.
So you can add it to your like the weekly things you do. Go on and get your red border from that. But you're not guaranteed to get, if you're trying to get the SMG, you're not guaranteed to get
right,
the
right.
Right.
SMG pattern, but you can start ticking them all off, which
Sure.
I think is actually really nice. I mean, it's taken so long to have like protection in Destiny, like RNG protection, but it feels like the crafting has provided a really dedicated pathway to get stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They also have a weekly challenge. So the challenge rewards will be output at pinnacle power and will prioritize rewards in the following order. One guaranteed deep sight weapon that has not had its pattern unlocked. If weapons patterns have been unlocked, the challenge will award one armor piece that has not yet been obtained. If all the patterns and the armors have been unlocked, the challenge will output a random weapon or armor. And it's also the exotic mission is also going to give bonus progress for the Xenology quest from Xur, 4 points for completing on normal difficulty, and 7 for legendary. This just seems like a pretty good introduction, you
This
know?
all
Like,
seems pretty bloody good.
yeah, I was
Chat
like,
with-
you brought it back, and not only can you get the exotics, but you can also get this other stuff. I think it's good.
You know what? Good. I'm glad we don't have any crucible maps. Keep giving this stuff. It's a joke. It's a joke,
Attack him,
Chad. It's
attack
a
him.
joke.
Get him.
Oh,
Baby down, baby down. Call cops. I
He
think
was
that's
running towards me and fell over.
Oh, it's Violet's fault.
Danny was like that BBC intro again with the kids burst in the room.
Yeah.
That's just like,
He's a PvP fan. He was coming to
He was
attack
coming
you.
to smack you up.
All right, we're gonna start off some
let's-
Twitter
Yeah,
questions
we can do
here.
Twitter questions. We're pretty much
Juice
done.
says, "What Guardian rank are each of you? Just curious. Love what you guys do. Keep up the great work."
7?
Forever level 6 on purpose. I refuse.
I don't have the fight. What's one above the starting level?
Well, they changed the starting level.
I
I
have
really
not-
don't remember. I do not interact with the system at all.
Me neither. They added no PvP stuff to it, so.
So level 6 is like if you're a veteran player, that's kind of where you start. And I have not ranked up at all. Like I've completed all the things, I just haven't turned it in. It's just I don't know. I do not like the system, and it's just because I'm kind of protesting the idea that you have to be a certain level in LFG to like play certain things. I'm like, no, who cares? Like it's just the number. It doesn't dictate how much experience you have in something. It just means that you turned in more stuff than me. I don't. It's like I don't care. So I don't know. Forever 6.
My favorite was Tefty's policy of never turning in a triumph ever, ever.
I remember you guys did a charity
It was,
incentive
yeah.
of like popping those for him. That was hilarious.
Yep.
That was quite a while ago, but yeah, that was great.
Zabe says, "Hey, Briar, can we put a poll in chat? Sony's fault, yes or no?" I am too old to work computers, so I don't know how to put a poll in chat. But let's take a poll
Also,
around
are
here.
you okay? What do you mean Sony's fault?
They trying to
Sony's
blame
fault.
The
where
Sony
Destiny is right
acquisition
now?
thingy happened like really not that long
Yeah,
ago.
no.
You're not going to be seeing. First of all, like Bungie took the whole Sony thing because they were able to stay independent with how they make Destiny. Second of all, it hasn't been long enough for this. Even if Sony took over and were like, we're making Destiny now.
You want to
How
know
long?
probably one of the first things that has come from that deal is the fact that you can get Witch Queen on the PlayStation Pass now.
That's true. Yeah, it was like PlayStation Plus Extra or something. You can get.
Or-
what's the question?
yeah.
Blame Sony? I'll blame
Yeah.
Sony. I'll play devil's advocate. Yeah, fuck them. You know what?
You're no Sony
No.
pony. You tell him. Shove that baloney up your ass.
For
I
6
think
months,
it's
by the way.
Bungie's fault.
For 6, it's
6
for 6 months. You get you can claim a code,
Wow.
or you can claim
long time.
and play Witch Queen for quote unquote free. It's included in your subscription that you're paying for.
I'll say this, and it'll make me less popular than ever. I believe that Destiny is the worst product since they left Activision.
I mean, I
In
don't know if
some
that's
ways,
controversial, really.
in some ways not.
So, thinking about the Sony thing, and of course, we don't know what goes on behind closed doors. I don't think Sony's directly influenced Destiny, but I think having the safety net of the Sony bucks could have definitely influenced the direction of Destiny, because they've got that big safety net there that they can use for all their other IPs, and maybe that has influenced how Destiny's played out.
That's why they're talking more spicy to us on social media. They're like, "We got Sony money. We don't need you anymore."
Fuck you money.
Dude, can we talk
Because-
about that money real quick? Because I think the player base like truly does not understand about the 3.6 billion or whatever. Like, I don't think they understand what it means at all. So Bungie didn't just receive $3 billion and they just have it in the bank and it goes towards funding whatever they want.
Mhm.
The money was paid from Sony to become the major shareholder of Bungie.
And also
The
boats
shareholder
and blow.
No. So this
No
is the
boats?
shares. The shares are owned by employees, and it's an employee shareholder company. So the money that went to buy out Bungie went to employees. They had to buy the shares from the employees for Sony to then own them. So Bungie doesn't actually have the $3 billion at all. Like, it's spread between like any employee that owns shares at Bungie. So they don't, the whole like, we Bungie, you got $3 billion. What you doing? It's like, we don't actually. They bought the shares so that they could be the major shareholder of Bungie. So it's not quite the same as just like, here's $3 billion, go crazy. It's
Yeah, I mean,
employees that actually
I
got
didn't really
the money.
understand that. So does that not? I mean, it sounds like that doesn't impact anything. Then I don't know enough about how business works.
No, it just means like if you are one of the employees that had a lot of shares, you probably got big buckaroos. Which I actually kind of like because it means the individual developers at Bungie got the money.
Sure.
Of course, like, people higher up are going to have more shares, or people who have been there for longer are going to have more shares. But the fact that you could just be, a developer at Bungie and you got some money.
What if you didn't want to sell your shares?
I think in business generally you can like vote against it. I think like there's a whole acquisition process that
Right.
businesses go through.
Once it goes through, though, I think it's probably a clean sweep. It's like
Yeah.
majority shareholder vote.
Yeah, so if
I
you're
would love
you're
someone to who's an expert in this to explain it to me how it works. Because
No, you wouldn't.
I
It'd
bet
be
if you
so
read the
fucking boring.
contract, you'd probably. I bet.
You know what? I do find this stuff fascinating because it's how complicated it is.
it's freaking complicated. I don't understand it all. I just know that Sony bought the shares which were employee owned.
A few years ago, I actually went through and read word for word the Activision Bungie contract, the original one from whatever 2011, and it gave me really good insight on like all that stuff. So I bet that the Sony Bungie contract is public, and you could go and read it, and it would give you a much better understanding of all the
Maybe,
details.
yeah.
It
Gator
is
says,
laden with sorry. Go ahead.
reading the tweet, is anyone else tired of having things taken away only to be brought back a season or two later? First of all, fuck you for calling it a twit, Gator.
Here. Come on. We don't call this Twitter questions for no reason.
Are we still angry? Are we still angry about this? Whatever, 4 years later after the original Sunset stuff. I don't know.
I mean, look, I don't like it. Do you? I don't like it.
No. Are they still taking stuff away though, or is that still stuff that they had taken away?
No,
4
but they're
years
still
ago?
giving it
Whatever.
back, and I find
How
it.
dare they give it back to us? No, I'm not mad about that.
I find it a little bit galling when the raids were already reprised once and then they're reprising them again. Like, I don't know. Like, to me, that's.
It doesn't bother me because we're getting more than one raid a year.
Okay.
It's, you know what I mean? Like we're getting at least one big raid plus a smaller raid every year now.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Hey, Blaze says, if we were not reviving Savathun at all next season, what if, to find a way through the portal in the Traveler, we instead access her memories through the altar of reflection? She is dead, and her body has been dissected by Eris Morn.
I think there's going to be something funny with Savathun because they've kind of said don't expect too much from Savathun. So yeah,
Smoke
it could
and
be.
mirrors.
I don't quite know. I don't know. They've said, I don't know why they've said don't expect too much of Savathun. Like if it's just going to be a quick resurrection and then a couple tete-a-tetes on the side each week. Or maybe they'll make use of the ult. I'm not too sure. I personally think they should introduce a lore quiz in Destiny at the Altar of Reflection done by Savathun.
That would be fun.
And if you fail, they just delete your character. Dead.
I'll make sure to go up on my Titan then.
Yeah, I am definitely dead. Yeah, I'm going to roll up on my Warlock for sure.
I'm already dead.
And every single person that's ever failed the lore quiz at the Altar of Reflections, body is still there. So it's just a pile of
Oh, I like it.
Why do you hate me, Mylan?
Because of Bean Boozles, you know the answer. That's
Yeah.
bloody why.
True,
You know what you did.
True. I missed 2 weeks of show with you guys complaining about that.
We did complain about it every show, too. Majestic Mofo says, if I were to dig through the ditches and burn through the witches, what would I be doing next?
Huh?
Virgin bitches?
Nice.
I don't think there's a
sounds-
better answer than that.
No.
I figured that's where we were going.
Matt says, is Gambit dead?
It's getting a new old map, so no.
It's only dead in your art if you stop playing.
And if the drifter gets taken out and you need some drifter, go play Atlas Fallen. He's in there.
True.
Is he?
He is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sir G says, do you guys think the final shape needs a cool new subclass more or a detailed campaign more for it not to be considered a failure?
I think it needs
Campaign.
I think it needs all of it.
I mean,
I don't think we need
Yeah.
another subclass this soon, to be honest.
No?
Wait, after
Strands,
final shape
stages.
or for final shape? What was the question?
Final shape. For final shape.
I don't think you need a
Yeah,
new
but-
subclass for final shape, but post final shape, I think you need a brand new car. I think it needs to be very
Yeah.
sparkly.
Agree.
Subclass, planets, enemies, activities.
Buko16 says, no real question. Just wanted to say thank you for continuing to provide a bright spot in the week. Yo, thank you, Buko.
oh, thank you.
Animalistic says, why does Briar hate Warlock so much? You know what you did. I don't have to explain myself to you. Jalil Dick says, what's the lore
Really?
on the Vex keeping us in a simulation in order to find the veil for them? Is the whole Destiny franchise a simulation?
I'm gonna laugh when Bungie's like, "Ha ha! It was all a joke in Chiyomi's head." Funny.
Chiyomi's head. Funny. Very funny. Oh, God. You know, it's possible. It's definitely possible.
Possible.
I don't think Bungie would do that.
I don't think
But
so.
lore-wise, it is very possible.
Yeah.
Jesse says, how many crawdads could a crawdad eat if a crawdad could crawdads? 15 pounds, I believe, is the canonical answer.
How much
Uh.
do sugar crawdaddies weigh?
Mm,
I'm an
That's a good
equal
question.
opportunist. I like craw mommies.
Craw mommies.
Mm.
Yeah. How much do craw mommies weigh? Has
A
anyone
lot more
thought
than
about
craw-
making a
a
craw
lot more than
mommy?
craw
there?
daddies, that's for sure.
Justin Snow says, do you think world PvP could work in Destiny 2? Maybe a seasonal activity or public event type that allows you to PvP in patrol zones.
Yeah, I would love open world
That'd be
PvP.
sick.
That'd be pretty funny.
It's called Marathon. It's actually coming out.
Yeah, good
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
You're literally describing Marathon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For some
See,
reason, though, I can imagine
don't
it.
turn your nose up, what? That's Marathon, okay? It's basically
he's
I
right.
mean,
You're
yeah, I
right.
just don't know. Is it gonna feel like Destiny? I don't know. I hope so.
I hope so, too.
I like the shooting.
For some reason, I could always imagine that better in Destiny 1's patrol zones than in Destiny 2's. And I'm not sure why that is. But especially the EDZ.
Side note, I've been playing a game called Dark and Darker, which is an extraction
Mhm.
shooter, but
Came
it's
back
just like
too.
with swords
Extraction
and
slasher.
yeah, in a dungeon, and I have not extracted once.
You got killed every
Hey.
time.
Maybe
I'm
we
que-
don't
and
need
I'm
to play
questioning-
Marathon together.
I'm questioning my future in
You're washed.
Marathon.
Yeah.
Maybe you're not so good at the slash and you're better at the pews.
I mean, not really.
You're a parent now, dude. You're,
I'm like, where's the pulse rifle equivalent of a sword? What is the pulsey equivalent of a sword?
You should find out and you
Right.
should make a video of like the
Yeah.
Dark and Darker dad loadout.
I feel like a hammer is the pulse rifle equivalent of a sword. Like a big,
Oh,
slow
big hammer
swinging
can't miss
hammer.
with a big hammer.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's true.
Well, there is like a rat class where you can just go invisible. You literally
There you go.
people can't see you. You can just hide, wait for them to go past.
That's probably it. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
probably it.
Second Son 22 says, can we get an apathy check from you all? Bungie said the worst thing that could happen to this game is if the
Right.
community feels apathetic.
I'd say I'm like decently apathetic because my
Yeah.
viewpoint at the moment is like I log on and do trials because I do enjoy trials. I find solo trials to be fun. And then like if I'm enjoying Destiny, I play Destiny. If I don't enjoy it. I don't play it, but I don't really get angry anymore, you know? And the anger does come from passion as much as we're like, "Oh, you angry idiot, shut up."
Yeah.
It does come from still being passionate about the game. Um and I enjoy Destiny when I'm enjoying it, and when I don't, I just don't play it instead of getting angry about it now.
Honestly, I'm probably pretty high up there with apathy right now.
Yeah.
I still enjoy making content. I'm still enjoying like creation aspects, but like playing Destiny, you know, I wanted to play Destiny PvP, right? Because I know, well, I'm hoping Marathon's going to feel the same. And then I was just
Yeah.
like, what's the point? I don't see the point. And then I'm like, went and played Baldur's Gate, or went and played Remnant, or played something else. So yeah, I'm definitely up there.
As a solo player or going after things for myself, I've been apathetic for a few years now. But when I'm playing with friends or doing some sort of fun, silly thing like for charity,
Yeah.
it brings it all back. Because it's about community for me anyway. So
I'm still angry about the Eververse.
Then you're still passionate, Brian.
Joe Corcoran says, "What's up, guys? Love the pod. What do you want the next season of Destiny to be or centered around?" Oh, that's a good question. I haven't thought about the next season at all. I'm just
It's
so
gotta be
focused on the
Vex,
last
right?
shape.
Maybe. They're doing a lot
The
of
final
Vex
shape.
stuff.
yeah, we were talking about that a
Yeah.
while back.
They're doing a lot of Vex stuff in the lore drops.
All right.
Oh yeah, we actually haven't talked about the Veil, but yeah, the whole M-Sun 12 Vex researchers cropped back up this week, and seems like the final Veil containment will relate to My Son Daresh. So yeah, might have a bit of a Vex flavor.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cobalt says, "Hey DCP, if you had a big button on your desk that automated one menial task from your day, what would that button do?"
Ooh. How
Can it
menial are we
clean my
talking?
entire house?
That is a menial task.
Yes.
Because that would save my life, I think.
Doing dishes would be up there.
Yeah, doing dishes.
Sleep.
Oh, man, get out of here. If I could
Just-
get rid of that, I'd be so happy.
Like,
Imagine
you
having
feel
8 hours
refreshed.
extra of your day.
Yeah, you feel refreshed. You
pretty
feel
cool.
the all the good things about sleep, but you don't actually have to.
You'd have a whole
Waste
extra
8
room
hours.
to your house to like do stuff in because you wouldn't have to have a bed. I like
Wouldn't you
how
wanna
the
just lay
camera
down
focused
every now
on
and then?
cat butt.
Every time Bella's tail comes, it's a 50-50 of whether I go into witness protection or not. Forever.
We have a bit of cat butt that we really got to focus on right now.
I'm like, uh-oh, the tail's there. We might be
But if
going
it was
forever.
like, it was truly like, if without getting into fantasy land, if it was truly just like a menial task, like taking out the trash, or doing the dishes, or something like that,
Dishes would be great.
doing the
Cleaning the
dishes would be
shower.
awesome.
Cleaning the shower sucks.
Yes.
It just sucks.
It does suck.
Yeah. All
Just
kind of
cleaning.
cleaning related
Just
tasks.
cleaning.
It's all
Everything-
no one likes cleaning.
No,
You like it. You like having a clean house, but
No.
the actual act of cleaning. I mean, come on.
There's probably
beating my
some
kids. You know, it takes a lot out of my shoulder. You know, I got like tennis elbow. That'd be nice.
Where's the cleaning is therapeutic people? Do they exist?
Cleaning is therapeutic.
For some people,
Who are
it
these
is.
Because you're
people?
like, I guess I
It-
clean when
It
I'm
feels
angry.
good to
Organizing.
have a. It feels good to
Organizing.
have a clean house, but never
Mhm.
feels good cleaning the house.
I like organizing sometimes, but actually
You know what?
scrubbing, not so much.
Yeah, I don't mind.
What about the button to organize your Tupperware drawer? Just match,
I've been
match all the
trying.
lids.
I've been trying to convince my wife. Let's just throw all the old stuff out. We'll go to the
Start
store
again.
and we'll
Yep.
just buy
Yep.
all brand new stuff with lids that just
Yep.
match. So you're never like looking
Yep.
for a lid
Yeah.
for a top and a
Yep.
top for a lid.
Yep.
Like, what the fuck are we doing here?
I'm
This
tempted
stuff-
to do
funny
that with
thing?
my whole life.
This
It's just
stuff
I'm just
costs
throw everything
nothing.
out, start
we
again.
can complete this project for $100.
They're,
And
yeah,
never
they're
have
not
to
that
worry about
expensive either. It's not that expensive,
No.
relatively speaking.
No, $100 and we're like set up with Tupperware.
You got like 80,
Yeah.
80
Yeah, but okay.
containers.
So I actually did this. I did that exact thing.
Yeah.
I can confirm you will fall back into old habits very
You will.
quickly.
You will, yeah.
I did it with
And
my
before you know
sock
it-
drawer once. I just threw away all my socks, bought all brand new socks that were
And now you're
all
missing socks.
exactly the same. All my socks matched. I
Oh.
had 2 colors. I had black and I had white, but other than that, they were exactly the same. So I never had to match socks. It was amazing. It lasted for like a year. And then,
Oh, that's pretty good.
AI, Al. I think it's Al actually. 2 questions, one Destiny related, one not. Out of the names and nicknames in Destiny, which one do you like the least, and which one do you like the most? Could be a person, subclass, gun, anything in Destiny.
Nicknames.
Nicknames.
What?
I
Nicknames
don't
that are
like.
in Destiny?
You're like, Destiny, my favorite game. Was that a nickname? What's that?
I don't like Bungo. I don't like when people call Bungie Bungo, and the reason for that
Really?
is it's an old fucking joke. Think of something new. We've been calling them Bungo for 10 years. It's
Bungle.
It's fucking
Bungle?
lazy. Get yourself some new material. Jesus Christ.
Nah.
Bungle is red versus blue. That's always funny.
I'll stick to it.
Blueberry is good. Yeah, blueberry. Blueberry was a great
Blueberry's a
term.
good one. Yeah.
That is
I
good.
do like that one because it's
That is very
descriptive
good.
of
I
like
mean-
their visual and it's also kind of like, I don't know, just works.
Yeah, Drifter calls Eris moon dust, which I think is very nice, and
Yeah.
she calls him a rat, which I think is even better.
If you're forced to pick a new username to go by, what would it be?
Ooh, I don't know.
It's hard to come up with those things.
Yeah.
It's
XX
real
Sniper, No Scopes, XX.
All right, why are you
Elite.
calling me out, Briar? Jeez. Good lord.
I'm gonna call myself I be sleeping. That's what, because I do be tired all the time.
Well, when I have to make new names in games, I often use something like Dr. Bum, or yesterday I made a class in Dark and Darker, and it was a sneaky class. So I called it Big Soft Feet.
And like
then-
a hobbit?
Yeah. And then I made another class, like a tank class, and it's called a Big Dave, but it was taken, so it's called a Big Dave's brother.
Mylan, Crooker says that you'd be called PhD licious.
Oh,
That's pretty
pretty
good.
good.
That's really
I
good.
like that.
PhD licious. That's great. That's gonna get stolen. You're
I'll
stealing
just
it.
go by the
That's-
spoon guy because people call me that all the time.
Spoon.
Yeah, that's like a
Hey, you're
one.
the spoon guy, right?
They're gonna
Sure.
get the wrong impression, I think. Like what?
I think there's something special about having a clever, punny, like online name that gives people like just a little bit of joy. Do you know? Like
Yeah.
it's nice when you come across a name like, "Oh, okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that is good.
Yeah.
Blandy McBlanderson says, would you rather live in a frontier colony on 1, a planet with a non-Earth atmosphere, or 2, under the ocean on Earth?
Nope.
Anything
The
that's
first
not
one.
water. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not
Keep
going
me out of
under
the
the
water.
ocean. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Nah,
No.
that's a no from me, dog.
And they said under the ocean. So you're going deep into the ocean, under the ocean where no one's even seen and it's pitch black down there and there's like
there's not a lot
spooky
to
alien looking
see.
guys.
Yeah.
I don't know about
I'm
that.
Yeah.
definitely going a planet with a non-Earth atmosphere. At least there's like stuff to do. You know, you can play tennis in a spacesuit or
Tennis in a spacesuit.
turtle
Turtle
power.
All of a sudden you hear.
It's Romeo 1 says, taking a break from Destiny and want some game recommendations. I've recently played through all the Ratchet and Clank games and want something similar to Ratchet
Oh.
and Clank. All
I was
of
gonna
them?
say
You played through
Remnant
all of
2
them? That's
because that
pretty
is
good.
an easy recommend for Destiny players. Remnant 2, like the easy.
It's not really like Ratchet and Clank though.
No.
No.
Banjo
No, not at all.
Kazooie, ukulele, Conker's Bad Fur Day. What are some of the like platformer type games?
Ratchet and Clank is more of a shooter, isn't it?
No, it's like it's like an action platformer.
Yeah.
Do you think
It's
they'd
like
like
Magic is-
Hi-Fi
it's-
Rush?
Third party.
Oh
Maybe?
yeah,
shooter.
Maybe?
yeah. Hi-Fi Rush maybe.
Maybe.
What is there anything new that's in that genre? Because that's such a like
They don't really make them.
It is kind of a
90s
retro
game.
genre, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
I mean, the Ratchet and
Ukulele
Clank
would be
games are
one.
really good at what
There's
they do.
There's a game on Xbox. It's like the Tails Fox game or something that's kind of like that. I mean, the Super Mario. Some of the Switch games are like that. Crash
I mean, you have
Bandicoot on Switch too.
Oh yeah, I guess I mean they re-released Spyro and Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah,
Spyro to me would feel the most like Ratchet.
yeah. There's a lot of games like that. You just gotta look for them.
But yeah, they don't make them a lot anymore. It's not like a popular genre anymore.
Yeah, super lucky tail.
What was that raccoon? The Thievius Raccoonus? What was the name of that? Sly Cooper.
Yeah,
Like
that was
Sly
pretty
Cooper.
good. It's got a similar tone too, where it's kind of like adult humor mixed with kind of like family safe stuff.
I need to remake Conquer, to be honest.
Conquer
know
Bad
if
Fur
they'll-
Day. Didn't they do
I don't
that?
know if they'll
I think
ever
they
do
did
it.
that actually.
No, there was the Xbox version, and basically they just made it look a little bit better, and then they added multiplayer, and that was it.
Oh, okay.
It was the same game though.
I'll
so they
bet
played the
you if
race-
you were to play that now, you wouldn't find it nearly as entertaining as it was.
It's a lot of a lot of poop jokes
Yeah.
and fart jokes. Yeah.
So like they're playing the most recent Ratchet and Clank. I never played that, but they got really good reviews.
It was very good. It was very
There
good.
was also what was one of the was it Crash Bandicoot 4 also got really good reviews. I played that. Was that what it was?
I don't know.
There was one
Don't
that
know.
just came out within the last year or two.
Suntory, maybe Kana.
Yeah.
Oh,
Kana
Kana,
could be
yeah.
a similar kind of vibe.
Yeah,
And
a
that's
little,
a fairly new
little
game.
darker, but definitely like gameplay would feel good, I think.
Yeah.
Kana,
was
what's
that
the
cute-
name of that? Bridge of Spirits? Was that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kana Bridge of Spirits.
Yeah.
I was thinking the
Very
same
good.
thing that you collect those little
Mhm.
Yeah.
Those-
spirit.
yeah, those
Briar
little
with a hat. Shiny briar.
fuzzy guys. The little, yeah, that was good. Kana Bridge of Spirits, I think, would be my top pick, actually, now that you mention it.
I guess God of War, if you're going for more serious, it's not quite the same, but I mean it's I guess an action adventure.
You know what? I think you might want to check out some indies of similar things because a
Yeah.
lot of indie studios are making experiences more similar to that
Sure.
than AAA.
You know, the Ratchet and Clank games are really kind of they're kind of standalone because they don't make that kind of game anymore, and it's really kind of a special game with like that incredible depth of weaponry and the just insane graphics. Like the graphics in that game were outstanding.
Yeah.
You do have a lot. If you've only played the most recent one, there are a lot of those, and they're all really good.
They have remakes for PS3. Do they have anything more recent than that?
They had PS4 games. I think they had at least 3 on the PS4.
Okay.
I think one of them was a remake, and I think 2 of them were new.
They had like compilations too.
Because remember they came out with the movie not that long ago.
Did they?
Yeah, Ratchet and Clank, like feature length movie came out
I didn't.
not
I
that
didn't hear
long
about
ago.
that.
Okay. Casper J says, question for Mylan, do you think the Black Garden is linked to the new area inside of the Traveler? Both seem like they're in a location outside of time and space, and the terrain looks somewhat similar.
I haven't really thought about it much yet, but I'm not too sure if they've kind of finished with the Black Garden storyline by confirming that the Vex created the Black Heart, and that was an experiment on the Veil to make like a second Veil. So I think they're gonna explore the Vex, but I don't know if they've kind of put that storyline to the side just for what's been said so far. So not too sure.
There you go.
Sam says, what is your favorite insult to use against a trash talker or one that just makes you laugh?
Stinky.
Yeah,
Definitely stinky.
I like that, Watch, because I like to go old school and like really dumb it down for people. Like, what are you talking about, stupid? Like, really?
I like
My-
stinky because if it's online, I clearly can't smell you. I don't know what you smell like. So it's not a legit like, oh, you stink. It's just like, okay, stinky. Like, what do you mean? It's kind of cute, but also I'm calling you stinky.
I usually
My
just say-
favorite thing. Go on.
I was just gonna say. I usually say you're right.
Disagree.
I like it.
What are they gonna do?
If it's online, what I like to do is put on like a kid's voice and pretend I've just started a YouTube channel. Hold on. I just started my YouTube channel. Can you please like, comment, subscribe, and just make them feel like really bad. I'm just like, bro, please. I've got 2 subscribers. My mum said if I get 1 more, I can get a Xbox Play card. And then they're just like, just no response.
I'm a big fan of your mom stuff too, because it's not like
Yeah,
super
it's
offensive.
classic.
Someone would just be like, "Oh, why are you so bad?" And it's like your mom wasn't complaining.
Your
Just
mom kept me
stupid
up
mom
late
stuff.
last night.
Yeah, stupid mom stuff.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Classics. Never go out of fashion.
Oh, someone said don't do that in COD. I once went into a lobby and just started asking people to like, comment, subscribe, and I had about 4 people say, "Just shut the fuck up!" Just yelling. And this massive fight broke out.
That's great.
Sounds like I do want to do that.
Oh, COD lobbies. Fortune Light says, waiting for an update on Briar versus Neighbor. Did you bury him out back? I got 2 updates about the neighbor.
Oh, 2.
One is my wife looked out the window. This was a couple weeks ago and said, I think the neighbor is washing his curb. I said, what? So
Wow.
I went outside, or I didn't go outside. I went to the window, and it did appear that he was, in fact, spraying his curb with
Maybe
a hose.
he's washing off something nefarious.
He did the whole street, like the whole line in front of his house. So then, when you drive by his house, you see the nice clean curb, and then you get to my house, and it's dirty curb. It's like, this motherfucker, like, even the curb.
He
That's
stepped up the standards for everyone now. Now everyone's
Right.
got to wash their curb.
Yeah, now you look like you don't take care of your curb. What's that
That
mean about
sounds
you
like
as
a
a
great-
person?
That sounds like a great put down. Actually, somebody says some trash to you. You have a dirty curb.
Fucking dirty curb.
Bet you don't even wash your curb, Stinky.
So the other one,
That's a good one.
I'm gonna use that tonight in League of Legends. I'll let you know how it goes.
People are like, huh? You're like, your curb. What are you, an idiot? Wash your curb. Smelly.
so the other one is, I've long been convinced that my wife is secretly on his side. Every time I mow the lawn, I think she calls him, says, Briar's mowing the lawn. You got to get out
You
there
might
and
want to
mow
get
your
back
lawn.
home.
Can't let him have a freshly mowed lawn, right?
Without
Like,
you.
it'd be the nicest lawn on the block. Can't let that happen. So the other day, I'm mowing the lawn. I'm almost done, and where our lawns intersect, there's like a fence line that kind of ends at the backyard. I'm coming up from the front yard. He's coming up from the backyard, and we crashed our mowers into each other.
Wait, really?
Yeah, really.
On
That's
purpose,
amazing.
or
Because he couldn't see me because he was like behind a fence, and I couldn't see him because he was behind a fence, right? So I was like turning to the right as he's coming into me, but he saw me like at just the last second, and just like kind of he just bumped my my back wheel.
so how did that interaction go?
Beer. We had a couple beers.
Okay.
Oh, so now you're friends.
Well, look, I've
Onto
shared a lot of
the-
beers with people I don't like.
What'd you put in the beer, Briar?
Mm.
He was a little jealous of my, I gotta say this quietly, my newly installed beer fridge in the garage that I installed because my kids
Oh, I
keep stealing
see.
my beer. So I stealthily installed a beer fridge. Nobody can find, or nobody has found yet. Keep it under a blanket.
Under all the garbage.
A little blanket.
I tell you
know.
what, if you said to me, oh yeah, this is a secret basement I've installed and no one knows where it is, and down there's a beer fridge, I would not be climbing down there.
It's in a garage, not the basement.
Yeah, but I'm getting it, like when Brian installs a beer fridge, it's like a custom basement installation, secret hatch. underneath the mower. You pull the mower out, you open a hatch, you climb down a ladder. There's a beer fridge.
It is the beer fridge is conveniently parked like right next to the mower, so I could just when I park the mower, I could just reach over, open the fridge, grab a beer.
And if you see someone breaking in, you can run them over.
That's true too. Mad Geek says, question from Island, if Cade 6 being dead is alive in some form in the Traveler, would this mean that Savathun is as well? Since Savathun knows how to defeat the Witness, could she be training Cade 6 and Dead Guardians to prepare for coming back like Doctor Strange did in the MCU?
Yes.
Samuel Brownlee says, Bungie has asked each of the DCP crew.
No, I think it's got to be something like that. Yeah, I kind of agree. Yeah, there's got to be something.
Samuel Brownlee, Bungie has asked each of the DCP crew to make an armor set for themselves to be forever immortalized in the Eververse store. What would each of your sets theme, colors, etc. be? Mine would be just like money from head to toe. And my guardian would be like, don't do it.
It'd be the most popular set ever sold.
It might be.
Mine would be me with my floppy PhD hat, and it would come with it'd be a package with the emote, the doff. So you could just walk
The
around
lady.
doffing.
They could call it
I like it.
PhD Delicious. PhD Delicious.
Delicious.
It's basically going to be old trials, the ornaments. I just want kitty cat, very glowy. Kitty cat armor 2.0, very glow.
I think I'd just be a giant spoon with googly eyes on top.
Good one.
That's amazing.
Maybe that could be a ghost shell.
And a boner
The
tucked
ghost
into
shell
your
is a fork. I don't know.
MTL Rocker says, now that some time has passed, I'm okay with the news as Zavala's recasting. One thing I don't think about when Lance first passed and it was assumed Zavala would be killed off was how it would affect the other voice actors who play him. I'm glad the
Right.
story will still go on. It's good. Good point. Good
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, because you have, Lance was just the English voice for Zavala, which I'm sure is like, a very prominent version of Zavala. But there's people who do the voice in like every freaking language who are still
That's
here,
true.
still playing Zavala. So
Yeah.
if you were to, retire the Zavala character, you'd be getting rid of all those people as well.
By the way, if you've never done this, do yourself a favor and switch the English over to Japanese for a little while. It's a lot
Yeah.
of fun.
It's
a
fun.
lot of
How do you
yelling.
do that?
Go into Crucible and do it.
Yeah. It's fun.
Gareth Evans says, which vaulted raid, D1 or D2, would you guys rather see come back? Personally, I'd choose Wrath of the Machine. Not sure if they would, given the Siva fallen enemy type in the original, though. I think it's highly likely they will at some point, if not right away.
Yeah, I would love to see Wrath in like 60
Death-
plus FPS.
Death Zamboni is a very
cool.
memorable moment
That was
that
pretty good.
is a lot of fun, and it's probably one of those. I think every raid has one component like that really stands out, and Wrath is pretty special for that. Death Zamboni.
And let us do the puzzle again, but give us something different.
Oh,
The
like the...
binary puzzle.
Oh.
You remember?
Yeah, I do remember. I was thinking of the initial puzzle to find the chest, but you're right. The binary puzzle was cool with what's his name, Randall the Vandal in there.
Mm-hmm. I only saw I saw him maybe 3 or 4 times, but yeah.
Hollow Point 503 says, what are the chances Bungie reveals at the showcase that they haven't been building new Crucible maps for the last couple of years because they've been hard at work making a Forge mode for Destiny? I can dream it, can't I?
No, you're
I
not.
actually brought this up. In one of my copium things.
Big
This
copium.
big plot twist.
Hey.
Bungie comes out and goes, we're not making PvP maps. Do you know why? Because you are. Curtain rolls back. Forge mode.
That would be incredible.
Do it.
but, yeah.
Man. Can you imagine the buzz and how many people would come back to Destiny if that were the case? It'd be huge.
In hindsight, I don't know why that never played out. Like I don't.
Agree.
You could see what Forge did for the longevity of Halo and having map creators and communities making custom maps, and it builds into content creators, and it's just I don't know why that was never packaged and sold. I don't
I
know.
want Halo can't have like the patents on that like map creation. It can't be. There's no way that they like are locked out of
Yeah,
that.
I'm surprised other games never picked it up either. I think it's one of the areas that had massive success that no one really jumped on board. I don't know if it's just like a real difficult technical thing or, there's so many trends that games take. Like extraction shooters is a trend that's just going crazy, right? And people are doing it. And it's like, why did we never go down this path of like Forge and custom maps and creator driven, community driven content?
There are some. I have an idea. There are some games that have done it, and I can name two off the top of my head. Marbles on Stream has a whole slew of community that makes maps, and Trials, the motorcycle game on Xbox. If you've played that, they have a whole contingent, and that's a fun game if you like
That's a real fun game.
to like battle your friends with.
I guess
massive
Mario
fighting.
Maker has it too.
Mario Maker.
The
one.
answer may lie in profit. Like if the community is creating content,
How do you get more money from it?
yeah.
Well,
How do you
that's I mean
monetize that?
that's when you actually need to like sell. Oh yeah, I guess that's the hard question. Like, do you make a marketplace? Or do they make a marketplace where you put your maps up and you take a profit
Minecraft
from it,
does that.
or like like
Minecraft
You do that. You
charges
could
for
also
stuff.
charge for like in the case of like something like Mario for like, well, now we got Link, now we got like these different blocks, now we got this, and you just make like
Exactly.
sets or stuff like that, like building.
Yeah, Fortnite has a creative mode too now where you make maps. That's how they made the Destiny
They make
maps.
freaking games. It's crazy.
Yeah, they definitely should.
What's
do
that?
it.
Roblox is big on
100%.
that.
Yeah.
My son buys so many Minecraft maps. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
It's wild.
I mean, I'm sure there's a way to do it. I'm sure they can
Yes.
figure it out. And yeah, it is massive copium, and I think it could have worked at some stage for sure for Destiny. I don't know if it'll work anymore.
Saying
But
like it's done, Mylan. Like it can't happen
Yeah,
again.
Mylan, you were doing the copium. Where'd it go? You could copy it like 2 minutes ago. You were copium.
I
Now it's
know,
gone.
that's how-
It's gone.
it's
That's weird.
high.
Like it's over.
It's high energy copium. It's like chain smoke. It's like getting the whole pack of ciggies,
There's a lot of ups
And
and
then
downs
just-
with drugs, you know.
and then you're done.
Very true.
Last question of the night, actually. Set when the editor says, "What do you guys feel about Keith David now playing Zavala?" I think it's a pretty good replacement. Oh, I think we went over this. I think we all kind of agreed it's a pretty good replacement. We agree with you.
Yeah, I think it's like the best person they could have picked.
Yeah.
It does feel like a pretty good, replacement.
And there was the voice actress for Ikora who was saying that she had always hoped to work with Keith
Well, that's good.
and act alongside him. So
Cool.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And that's it. Once again, we have solved all the questions of the Destiny universe. Well,
we have
Correct.
every single one.
Correct.
except for the ones that we missed last week. I guess those ones will just remain unanswered forever.
Well, you can ask them again.
True.
You can ask them again.
Thank you all for joining us for episode 349. 349.
350 next time.
Damn, that's old. 350. That's a number.
350.
That's the one where I'm finally going
Huge.
to do it nude. I've decided.
Now, DCP exclusively streaming on OnlyFans. Brian's
Birthday
naked.
suits for all. Thank you all. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye bye.